All right. Now it is time for Chrono Trigger.
All right, good evening, everybody. I think it's high time for some Chrono Trigger. So we're going to start timing after naming Chrono. And we're also going to cut off Marley and Luca's names right now, too. So what is Chrono going to be?
Chrono is going to be named Tacos.
All right.
Okay. Any special capitalization?
All caps.
Okay.
Oh, man. We are very excited about tacos.
Taco Thursday.
All right, let's get this rolling then. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this is, I believe, the 4th time this game has been in a Games Done Quick marathon, but all the 3 previous runs have all been the 100% category, which is all side quests, and this is going to be an any percent. I submitted it as any percent no wrong warp, but it's known as any percent no Lavos shell skip in the community. So this, we're going to see some kind of familiar stuff if you've ever seen a speedrun of this game before, but a lot of new stuff too, especially starting after about the 2-hour mark or so. So why don't you go ahead, everybody behind me, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves too?
bichphuongballz.
I'm Vulajin.
Redslash, and beside me is Sense Warrior.
All very awesome people that I'm very honored to have behind me for this. And then we also do have one more guest too.
Yeah.
Julius the New.
I did hear one new.
There was
from
one.
the crowd.
There was one.
All right, so now we need Luca.
Luca's name.
Luca's name is Arby's.
Okay.
An oldie but a goodie.
All right.
It's already old now, huh? Man.
Dude, it's a meme. A year and a half. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Time
I was there
flies.
when this meme was born too, during Final Fantasy IV.
So kind of with pretty much every RPG speedrun out there, there's some quick menuing that Phuexl had to go through right in the very beginning. Really simple stuff, changing the battle speed to the fastest and also setting memory cursor for battles as well. And that'll come up a little bit from now.
Yeah, I didn't bother changing the battle message speed though, just because that effectively doesn't actually save any time in the run.
So he also just when running into. Oh right.
Marley.
Yeah.
Love, with an exclamation mark.
Love.
Love.
All right.
How are we capitalizing here?
Proper case.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So when he ran into love.
Exclamation mark.
Does this have an exclamation?
It does. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
by the Z
Below,
there.
Below the
under the Q.
Under the Q. Okay.
Capital.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay.
Love. Okay.
All the speedruns of this I've done before. I've never actually needed the exclamation point before.
We did it.
Oh man. So when he ran into love, he went to pick up the pendant first because he wants to be a giant jerk.
Mm-hmm.
And that is actually important.
That is Phuexl for you.
Yep.
The jerk.
And you did run an illusion of Gaia.
Mm-hmm. I am what I am.
So how come there was no candy skip there?
Yeah, there's an extremely difficult skip you can do to skip the trigger for this cutscene. And in this category, it saves all of 1 second, because even though you skip that entire cutscene, you're going to get it when you come back through here after your first trip to the Middle Ages. So
Super huge deal in the New Game Plus category, though, because they don't come back here. So.
Oh man. These are even better than the meme names we used in the practice runs.
yeah. So, yeah, we got, I don't know, like another 2-3 minutes of cutscenes before we really get going. So I guess why don't we go ahead and have a first round of donation comments.
All right, I have a $2,000 donation.
Jeez.
Nice.
I have a $2,000 donation from Anonymous. I'm on a business trip and can't see any GDQ live, but that won't stop me from donating. I'll leave this as a time capsule for when I finally reach this year's SGDQ on YouTube. Last GDQ, I donated to save the animals, but this time I see there's an infestation of demon cows that must be purged. After all, there's no way you can defeat Diablo on an empty stomach. $100 from Saber Rider. Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite games of all time, and Puexel is one of my all-time favorite runners. What more can you ask for? Maybe some demon chocobo? But since that option appears to be missing this time, Puexel can choose where this goes. But always remember that our Lord and Master shall return eventually.
Yeah, my runner's choice, at least for now, is going to be the Terra fight in Kingdom Hearts 2.
$150 from Devo171. Happy to support the cause and see this community doing such wonderful things. Liberum Annibalil. I said that correctly.
Okay.
Maybe do one more and then we'll get back to it.
I have $50 from Essentia.
Nice.
Hey, Carrie.
Hey, Puexel. Wish I could be there. The kids and I are watching you on the big TV. Here's hoping for a 4-new run.
That'll be a first for me. I would certainly appreciate it.
You also
All
have
right.
an anonymous, a blank $500 from Anonymous.
Yo.
All right, so we're coming up onto our first battle now. This is also the first time we're going to be seeing what we call RNG manipulation, which is where I'm going to be kind of manipulating the outcomes of battles to kind of follow really predictable patterns. So the way I kind of initiated that was actually deleting all of the save files on my cart before starting this run, so that I actually am able to start a new game without ever actually seeing the save screen. And then here it is possible to kill all 3 of these blue imps before any of them attack Chrono, but I needed to let 2 of them attack as part of the manipulation route.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of times during this run where he's going to be doing very specific stuff like that.
Nice.
Nice.
Pause buffer. Love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
you should
man.
clap for that.
Yeah, go right
that
ahead.
is it might look easy on paper, but it's a pretty hard trick to do. There's just a couple pixels there that are possible.
Yeah, it's a 2-pixel window for that.
Puexel to dodge the hitbox for that encounter, and he definitely wants to do that because getting into that encounter will actually change the RNG, and that's not what we want. So he has to be able to do that.
Right, he's going to be doing that skip, that exact same skip, multiple times.
4
during this
total
run.
times over the course of this run.
Oh no. I left my phone in my pocket. Oh no.
We can probably go back to some comments too, just because we just have some story triggers we need to hit here before we can get into the first dungeon, including a 100% accurate biology lesson too about how genealogies work.
Oh, yeah.
I am a biology teacher, and I can confirm it's real.
All right.
I guess we should quick point out too that the cutoff for Frog's name is coming up fairly soon too. We're going to be cutting that off when I enter the cathedral.
Okay. I have a $600 donation.
Very nice.
From Diane of the Moon with no comment. I have a $300 donation from Gunarm Dine.
Hey,
Oh, hey.
Hey, Puexel and Chrono Trigger fans. Luca will be honest and admit, I was afraid I couldn't do this. I had to pore over my budget and make sure they weren't going to pull a lien on my house. Turns out there's not a chance, even though I'm no accounting scholar.
Thank you, Dan.
Ilo be rooting for you. Ilo be rooting for you. And thanks to everyone who donated so far, because it's not as if anyone's going to Magus do so. So stay at your post
He's still going.
and have a wonderful run. And one more thing, I'll double this if I can get the Couchin audience to give us all a hearty wonder shot.
Let's go.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Wonder shot!
Man, I don't know if I heard the audience there. Ooh.
$250 from Reverend. Chrono Trigger is my favorite Final Fantasy game. This donation is dedicated to all the people from Doctors Without Borders who try to make the world a better place, and especially to those who lost their lives in the wars and catastrophes. Doctors are heroes in my book, which makes these guys basically superheroes. Gods of speed gaming, do your best.
So apparently babies are produced by coughing?
Or nodding, I guess.
Oh, right.
That's what the textbook says.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that.
All right, so now we have to make a trip back through Guardia Forest to get to the Cathedral, the first kind of real dungeon. And then on the way there, I'm actually going to be fighting 2 battles that are technically avoidable, but I do need to learn Chrono and Luca's first techs as part of my my route for the Cathedral. And the RNG manipulation is all continuing through these fights too, as far as kind of giving me critical hits when I need them to one-shot these enemies.
Redslash, you want to talk about moving
RNG
through the RNG strings with his actions?
Yeah, the RNG manipulation in Chrono Trigger is not very complicated at all. It's a timeline of about 256 values, well, exactly 256 values. It's divided into 16 windows, and that's simply because when a battle initiates, it takes those ranges and funnels it down to 16 possible initial states, and then each action you take in battle will simply increments that value. And that is basically all that impacts the RNG, and then that's used for, enemy targeting and damage values and so forth.
All right, so if you know where you're starting in that sequence, then you know exactly what's going to happen, as long as you do the actions in the same order and don't miss like turns or anything like that.
Yeah, like in that second fight there, it was important too that I had Chrono attack the enemy on the left that I'd already queued up Luca to kill, just because the RNG advances in a different manner if the game has to retarget after an enemy dies. So this is our first major payoff for the RNG manipulation after those critical hits too, just because these Nagaets, they normally like to use a slow spell that has both a slow animation and gives you the slow status, neither of which are something we want to see in a speedrun, so thanks to that. None of them do it, and they cluster together pretty nicely for getting Fire World. All right, and it is now time to name Frog. Well, after he makes his grand debut here.
Frog's name is going to be Glenn.
Of course.
Okay. With 2 N's, I take it?
Yep.
All right.
Go with the frog.
What do you think, Redslash? You think we're on sub-3 pace right now? I think so.
Absolutely.
All right, I thought so.
Sure, we haven't lost the race yet.
That's true.
So a quick little revive pickup there, which is going to be handy a little bit later on in case of bad stuff that can happen.
In case of emergency.
Yeah, even though we're manipulating the RNG in a lot of places, there will be times when we cannot. So might just need that revive.
Yeah, so that'll be handy if I get the absolute worst possible outcome from a boss fight coming up about 50 minutes into the run, give or take.
And when it comes down to RNG manipulation, again, you want to make sure you're not getting into any encounters that you didn't plan for. Thankfully, this dungeon, most of the encounters their hitboxes are located with the enemies, and so they're really easy to run around. There aren't any tricks, because later on, you might think you can dodge through enemies, and the developers had actually planned for you to maybe try that, and if you step on a certain area, you're actually still going to get the encounter. But there's no really such tricks here that I can remember anyway.
Yeah, if anyone isn't really familiar with speedrun lingo too, when we say RNG, that means random number generator. It's just kind of a catch-all for talking about elements in games that are intended to be outside the player's control.
Right, and it's best to think of it as the game developers wanted it to seem like things kind of happened randomly, like that they weren't predetermined or whatever, but they didn't necessarily need it to be definitely guaranteed and not crackable. So it wasn't really a priority for them to make it so that you couldn't manipulate the RNG, and so that's why we're able to do that very often in older school games like this.
All right, so as soon as I play this organ, I'm going to be doing just a very, very minor time save, too. That's kind of cool how it works out, too. Because if I go back down this slide, normally there's an animation of Chrono and friends kind of getting surprised by the fact that they just stepped onto a slide and it resulted in them falling. Imagine that. But if I go down facing sideways, then I actually just walk normally.
Alright, so here we're going to be seeing one of the most major tricks in this game that makes a lot of getting through the game fast very, very possible. There's actually kind of two things happening here. He's entering the doorway, but before that, the game is allowed to transition. He's interrupting it with the menu and then backing out and kind of repeating that process over and over again. So he entered the room and continually interrupts the game, trying to get him into the room so that he could slowly work his way over to the save point. And then he gets to the save point, and then
he lets the room transition.
Yeah, then he'll finally let the room transition, which the game still kind of thinks he's on a save point, and he's allowed to save anywhere. That's why it's called the Save Anywhere glitch. And one of the other things that he's going to do, since he can save everywhere, he's going to run up to the trigger for Yakura and then save there too, and reload the game, and that's going to allow him to do some funky shenanigans here, where he's able to move around. He's not stuck in the cutscene.
Oh.
The cutscene will progress. Yeah, no wraparound, huh?
Darn.
Man.
Oh, man.
And then he has to open that chest to make sure the story can advance too.
And now Yakura is skipped.
And you don't fight Yakura, who actually would be kind of hard.
Yeah, because I skip like Frog's upgraded sword, which is pretty important if you want to actually fight him.
So we will actually also briefly mention that when he was doing the save to skip Yakura, he also performed a glitch called the unequipped glitch, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. For now, it suffices to say that it will actually boost his stats by de-equipping gear that you shouldn't be able.
Less is more in the world of Chrono Trigger.
Yep. And we'll talk about that a bit later.
And then one important thing to point out about the Save Anywhere glitch, too, is that the glitch only persists until I enter an area that has a save point in it, and that will cancel it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the save point sprite itself is checking if your coordinate is off of the save point to take away the save ability. So
if there's no save point sprite in the room, then
Yep.
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Which is actually pretty nice. It means you get to carry that status further forward and use it again, which you'll see pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I safety saved before doing Yakura skip, too, because if I'd have messed up the setup, I wouldn't have been able to leave Yakura's room, and that would have been pretty problematic.
The fade-outs are also one of the ways I think you get to see like really these small differences between different skill level runners, where people who are more comfortable will probably wait longer and move a little bit further before they pop into that menu, versus people who are newer and probably don't want to mess it up will probably mash on the menu button, right away, And it's just one of those small optimizations. You can see that over the course of the game can save maybe a few seconds. And
Oop, there's the frog skip.
nice.
Feel his Glen, man. So this time on the way out of the forest, we are just skipping all the encounters by just avoiding the triggers.
And then we're coming up to another use of the Save Anywhere glitch. This isn't quite as significant as the Yakura skip, but it saves more than 0.
Yeah, it's actually about 3 to 5 seconds that it can save, the reverse bird skip. And it was found by this fellow right here, SNES Warrior.
What a god.
Agreed.
Yeah, so there I reloaded the room once I was already past the trigger where the game kind of checks to see if you're coming from the overworld or from the time portal and decides which encounter to give you on the bridge. And the encounter you get normally coming from the overworld is completely unavoidable. So reloading there to give me the birds let me actually avoid it.
Okay.
It was also the timing for me loading my file as part of that skip too is significant too, because that plays into the luck manipulation route for Guardia Prison coming up.
Are there still any loads that aren't like instant basically, or are they all pretty much there now?
Oh, for the most part, yeah. Yeah, that one we just did, we kind of glossed over. That was about a half-second load.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are known amounts of time for each of the loads that you want to do to manipulate the RNG, but in some cases it's just get in ASAP, mash basically. And
Yeah,
in
quite
other
a few.
cases, there's like a specific amount of time.
Yeah, the main ones that are used are there's a mash load, there's a bright load where you just react to the save file string popping up. Double bright is kind of where you hesitate to do that, but essentially it's just to react. And then there is about a 1 second load too that he'll use. It's between 0.8 and 1.1 is what he'll shoot for later on.
Yeah, like that bird right there is one of the ones that like got me when I was kind of looking into more of the game, because in your mind you're like, well, I better dodge that bird, but it's really on the ground. So if you just walk around that part, make sure you do that, and then you don't get it.
Yeah, that's a strange, stationary trigger, not
Yeah.
tied with a sprite.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting through all of these kind of hostile areas without fast and avoiding the encounter triggers takes a lot of practice.
So hey, we're coming up on one of people's favorite casual parts of the game, the trial.
This was fairly revolutionary at the time, where the game's kind of judging you for being a typical JRPG protagonist and like eating people's lunches and either helping or not helping their kind of trivial requests.
So Poetzel didn't go out of his way to really do much of anything related to this. The one thing that he did do was he picked up Nadia's or Love's pendant before talking to her, which means he's kind of a jerk, so one of the jurors is going to be like, I'm pretty sure you're guilty. And other than that, I think all the other ones are based on stuff you haven't done. And so there's one in particular that we'll be looking for who will be effectively random as a result. He's uninitialized, basically. He doesn't know whether to be guilty or not guilty, so he'll just flip a coin.
It's the juror that's supposed to be tied to the Lost Cat quest.
And how many seconds do you lose if it's not guilty?
Well, if it's guilty, you save about 5 to 6 seconds.
So
We
if
don't
it's
talk
not
about the
guilty, you
loss.
lose 5 to 6 seconds. All right, got it.
Yeah, I mean that's a small enough difference that there was more stuff I could have done to force the guilty verdict, like try to drag Marley away from the candy merchant or like eat the guy's lunch, but all those would have cost more time than I'd saved from the guilty verdict, along with adding more text to the trial.
So what we want to see is the second juror moving left. Well, we want to see as many as possible moving left. That indicates guilt. That'll be coming up.
So now we're going to confess to kidnapping the princess, and yet have it still be not a sure thing that we're found guilty. And and the reason why we want to be found guilty, why we save like 5 to 6 seconds, is just because then there's less dialogue in the next
Right
cutscene.
here.
Never lucky.
Did not believe hard enough.
I'm on a pretty solid streak of nonstop not guilty verdicts in my runs of this game too. This I want to say is probably like either number 7 or 8 in a row.
Dang. Yeah, it is exactly 50-50. Well, pretty close.
More
to
or
that,
less, yeah.
I just love the reaction when a juror votes not guilty. The entire crowd's like, boo, boo. Like, wow.
Tough
Jeez.
crowd. All right, so yeah, we got not guilty. So yeah, there's going to be a little extra text during the next cutscene, which means that Iceplug can fit in maybe an extra like half of a donation comment. So take it away.
Awesome. I hope you like puns because I have $25 from Brosentia.
Oh.
Hey, Poexel. Brosentia here. Great to see Chrono Trigger.
Good lord.
You sure be drilling through these enemies. Don't toot your Rhyhorn too quickly, though. You might get Bulbasaur from getting hit. Oh, and this goes to naming Robo Arb-Y. No food is as fast as Arby's.
Thanks, Brian.
Oh my goodness. I'm not applauding that. Incidentally, the extra text was right there that he got for getting not guilty.
Right here, actually, is
Oh,
the
sorry,
not
my bad.
guilty text, yeah.
How dare you question me?
A kind of extra bonus of getting the guilty verdict, too, if you're just mashing through all this text, too, is that this music just kind of abruptly cuts off instead of the dramatic conclusion there. Alright, so I'm going to heal up here. And just grab a safety save just in case my my load for the reverse bird skip was off, because I'll know basically from after this first fight here if I'm good or not.
So we picked up the sword, the power glove, and the 2 power tabs, and that in conjunction with the RNG load gets him the max damage possible on this next guard, which is actually perfect. It would be perfect damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these guards have 60 HP, and if I do get a 60 with my Cyclone, then that means I'm all set for Dragon Tank, assuming I can get to it without any further issues. There we go.
Perfect. All right.
Nice.
So there's going to be a number of fight skips in here that he definitely doesn't want to miss, and then there's going to be the corridor with the watchful guards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Metal Gear Chrono.
So there's a long, long way to the encounter here. It's going to take a while, and it's probably not. It's not really so much about a time save to do this, to skip the encounter, so much as it is he needs it for the RNG. I would imagine this is still faster anyway, but it's not like a ton. He just needs the RNG.
It's an encounter with 2 guards, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, that surround him.
Now we come into one of the bits of unmanipulatable randomness in the game, which is these guards here.
Thankfully, these guards are a little nearsighted, so there's a little like a line of pixels as long as you don't.
Oh, goodness.
What a god. As long as you don't cross this line of pixels, basically, he could be looking right at you and it doesn't matter. But once you do cross it, you don't want to get caught because, again, he cannot get into an encounter.
Yeah, so think of this a little bit as like spinners in Pokemon games. But yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, nicely done.
Yeah, they can do a really fast turnaround like that first one tried to do.
And then there you're just, again, when you're just looking for those pixels where you're going to dodge the triggers, and you just kind of walk past them.
And one more fade out to skip that fight. So now he's good for the Dragon Tank, and you're going to get to see a very impressive fight.
And just to remind you what the fade-out glitch is, too, it's where we're kind of storing a screen transition, basically, and then interrupting it by opening and closing the menu. Then when we hit an event trigger, either for a fight or a cutscene, we'll release that so that the game completes the screen transition, but it still marks the game event as complete. And like in that case, the event was a fight with 2 guards.
Very, very handy. It'll be used a lot to either skip cutscenes or skip battles.
Not everything can be skipped, though. Like, you can't skip the Dragon Tank.
Yeah, or else it probably would be. But wherever you can use it, it's going to be seen. So I do want to just make sure to ask audience members here at home, like, just pay attention to what he's doing, especially with how much health he ends up with.
You also notice that he's going for the head first, which is, I guess maybe is somewhat normal, but going for the wheels is usually a better, like a safer strat in terms of getting the tank to stop crushing your characters. But thanks to the manipulation he's done, well, should still be fine. Right?
Should be enough for the head, yeah.
There we go.
Nice. So that's the power of RNG manipulation there.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that you really get out of it where you see Chrono at 10 HP really low, and the first thing you're probably going to feel is to freak out and probably heal the guy. But when you're manipulating how the battle's going to go, you know the next two targets are not going to be him anyway, so why bother wasting the time to do that? On top of the fact that you, following the RNG string, you're also like quite certain your damage rolls are going to be good enough to take care of whatever it is you need to take care of. So
yeah, right at when I came down to this floor too, I actually skipped a shortcut scene just by kind of running into that guard and then moving straight down.
Showing him some love. An exclamation point.
Otherwise, you get some extra text and stuff when they yell like "wait, stop" or I don't even remember because it gets skipped every time.
Yeah, the ending to the dragon tank fight is a little tense though, just because I'm winning pretty much right before it would roll me over and kill me.
Yeah, that is something to note too. You know, kind of scripting the fights, if you will, makes it sound kind of dumb, but at the same time, you do have to make sure you get your inputs in. There's lots of places where you have to put them in really fast before they go, or you might actually have to wait a tick or else you change it up. So there's actually a lot of these like really small things you have to deal with that if you mess it up, RNG changes, and then there's really no way to make it back up in a lot of situations.
Right, it tends to be the difference between some fights where you can manipulate the RNG, become about that execution of making sure you get your turns in and getting your inputs correct, and other fights where you can't manipulate them become about that decision making of, okay, you know, how do I handle the situation that's dealt to me dynamically?
Yeah, and also I did actually have a backup strat for the tank fight too if I'd have gotten caught by the guards in the prison, because getting an extra fight would have changed my what we call it RNG seed as far as the kind of the state that the game's battle system is in, and yeah, like I would not have killed the head first if I was not on the manipulation. I would have done a couple fire whirls to take care of the wheel and the body, and then just finished off the head from there. And pretty safe, but a lot slower.
Maybe in a little bit we can talk about what kinds of things change the RNG. I don't think we have the time, though, because we got the lab coming up.
Yeah, tough platforming session coming up.
Yeah, definitely. All that DKC training is going to come into play here.
Oh my goodness.
Why don't you handle this one, Redslash?
All right, so we are skipping some of these battle triggers by making use of these text boxes here from the rat, stealing from us and then stacking on top of that the treasure chest text. So that lets us get across some of these hot zones, as I like to call them. So there's two of those there. And that was really, really clean. And then there's a couple more fights here just to avoid, and he's through.
Yeah, so you're seeing some really, really clean movement as far as dodging the encounter triggers. There's just a couple of ones where there's just really nothing you can do to get past them, and that's why they'll make use of the text boxes to get past it.
Yeah, like both of those, there were actually ways I could have just gone around the trigger, but they were slower.
Yeah.
All right. So we're coming into this dome for one item only, and that's the bike key, so that we can proceed off to the east and race Johnny and
hopefully lose and guarantee ourselves through.
guaranteed world record.
The man. Guaranteed world record if you lose. That is correct.
We also made a very important control change there. So he swapped his open menu button from the X button onto which button?
A.
Onto A. And the reason is that in this room up here, where you would normally fight the Guardian, pressing the X button specifically will trigger an encounter. And he needs to be able to do this fade out glitch, which requires opening the menu, so that he can skip the Guardian. See you later. That was extremely clean, very nice.
Yeah, something I try to watch for too is anytime I get a fade out where you don't even see the menu at all too, because that meant I actually hit B on the first frame that I could. It is actually possible to use some more advanced setups to add the start button into the mix, actually, which kind of lets you buffer closing it on the first frame. But I'm used to playing this game with default controls, and it's pretty awkward to do that with default controls. If you're willing to remap controls and kind of learn to play the game that way, then you can use kind of a much more natural grip to do the kind of the consistent frame-perfect fade-outs, as I call them.
Yeah. On the Japanese version, this rat warns you that if you've swapped your controls, that the password will not work. And since that occurs right outside the Guardian room, it kind of makes me think it's a clue that the developers were possibly aware of the fade-out glitch.
Yeah, at least the way it's worded in the English version, my kind of theory on that is that they're it's because the password to open that door is actually fairly similar to the soft reset sequence.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
So same basic principle here, fading out, making sure that cutscene's triggered, and then letting the transition happen.
And
it skips a fair amount of this cutscene.
And we proceed to get stuck inside a computer too.
So they get to skip the whole like watching like Lavos destroy the world and all that stuff.
Yep. We played this before. We already know.
I mean, that already happened back in 1999, right?
That's a good point.
18 years ago now, jeez.
Yeah, time flies. When you live in a post-Day of Lavos world like we do. Alright, so I'm just going to backtrack out of the Eris Dome now, just making sure again to avoid encounters, because I'm still on an RNG manip route. So you can
probably fit in a couple
donations while that's happening, along with the cutscene afterwards.
Excellent. I have a $1,024 donation from Vaxerd182.
Oh, thank you.
It says the one problem with SGDQ is that there are so many interesting speedruns and not enough time to learn them. Best of luck to Poexel on the Chrono Trigger speedrun, and put this towards runner's choice.
That'll be the Terrafite in Kingdom Hearts 2.
I also have a $1,000 donation from Anonymous.
Thank you.
And it, much like that cutscene that we just saw, says nothing.
Alright, so now we get the whole reason for coming here, which is the bike key. One more thing, too, after shoving this guy out of the way. Just for the fans, this isn't part of the normal route. But you're still hungry.
I'm pretty hungry right about now.
I recommend Arby's.
Oh, goodness. The perils of a dinner time speedrun.
So coming up here is the bike race, where it's possible to win or lose it. You get points from the race. I have a challenge for you folks here at home watching. If you haven't donated yet, or if you have, I myself am going to match the points that folks who wins from this fight as a donation. So I'm just going to give you an example. In the practice room earlier today, he got about 800 points. So that would translate that at $8, 1 cent per point. So if you'll do that with me,
I'll join.
Let's see what he can score against
Right on.
the man.
Right
I'll
on.
also join. What kind of couch mate would I be if I didn't?
Let's see. Well, that point score kind of oscillating there. Come on. Let's go.
ooh,
I mean, you can approach this race really however you want. Is just right before the very end, you're probably going to just boost past them and make sure you win. But outside of that, there's plenty you can do. You can try to stay in front of them or hang out behind him. Doesn't really matter.
Oh, man. It's going to come down to the wire. Oh,
Nice.
very nice.
977.
977.
So that's,
I'm going to round that up to a nice crisp 10.
hey, sounds like a plan.
all right, sounds good. $1,000.
Maybe from your account, man. One of my favorite memories of this game. If you guys don't know Redslash, he's done a lot for this game, both run-wise and route-wise. And some time ago, one of the most glorious times people were shooting for was under 3 hours. He was the first person to get it. And I remember he was streaming late at night, and he actually lost to Johnny in his speedrun, which loses like a bajillion, or so I thought. So I was like, screw this guy, I'm going to bed. And then the next day I wake up, he got the first ever sub 3 in this game that I saw on Twitter. It was ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, Voxel's walking by those guys, by the way, not to aggro them. Also, hopefully we've cut off the Robo names.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I should have mentioned that earlier, but yes, we need to name Robo now.
All right, Robo's name is going to be Ryan D.
So capital R, capital D.
Yep, capital R, capital D.
All right.
Another throwback name.
Little bit of minor optimization I did there too was that instead of just running up to Robo and talking to him, I actually ran past him, and that's just so because the cutscene starts when Marley gets directly in front of Robo, and then when you talk to him as Chrono, your characters kind of walk off to their positions. But if I run past him, then Marley's running to close the distance to where she needs to be, and it's just kind of a cool micro optimization.
I also really appreciate the strats for the first fight in this area where you had the Berserker on Marley and she was, or sorry, on Love, and she was very red.
Spreading the love.
Managed to crit one of those things for like 110, which is
and then do it again too. Because if I'm on the manipulation route, then I'm just kind of performing the same actions, then critical hits. We'll know where we're going to know where they fall. Right, it was Ryan D, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I thought you were supposed to sing at this part.
Dude, I'm not here for
Thought
that.
you were singing, dude.
I thought
Fishy.
Iceplug were singing.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds more like it.
I think that was the plan.
We forgot to tell him though.
Never gonna give you up.
All right.
If you're not careful, you're gonna get our stream muted.
He sounds just like Rick Astley. It's amazing.
It's uncanny.
All right, so now we're coming into the next main dungeon, the factory. This is home to one of the most obnoxious enemies in the game, to the sets of enemies, the acids and alkalines, which are slimes that have very low HP but very high defense. Fortunately, this first one we have to fight here, we can manipulate a 2-hit kill on. If you're not on manip, this usually takes about like 5 or 6 hits.
You'll see a lot of those, and most times the one. We got a crit with the 10 there.
But anyway, yeah. But there's another fight coming up in a few minutes with 5 randomly colored versions of it, and just because of the nature of that fight, we're going to fall off manip just as part of the route. But we'll be getting it back in about 20-ish minutes after that.
Yeah, that fight he's talking about will have 5 slimes, and there could be any amount of proportions of green versus orange. We won't know until he gets into the fight. We'll leave it to y'all at home or watching to guess what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm going for 5 oranges, of course.
Oh man. I'm thinking 4 greens and 1 orange.
5 greens, baby.
All right.
Oh yeah. All right.
We got it. So you're going to see some weird like zigzagging, and again, it's just because he's dodging the pixels that will trigger encounters. And then, for whatever reason, thankfully, him zigzagging like that doesn't actually change his speed. Whether you zigzag or run in a straight line, you go at the same speed. It doesn't really affect him at all, which is nice.
Oh man.
The 1 green?
You were kind of there.
Yeah, it was the reverse of. Oh well.
Does that mean you're closer or that I'm closer?
Yes.
All right. The reason why the mix kind of sucks is if you attack one and they're right next to each other, especially if you hit the green one, that's why he's not targeting them, even though they're weaker. You tend to proc a counter attack. We kind of want to avoid that as best as possible. Now, at this point in time, he's just trying to see if he can get some cyclones in and to try to hit multiple ones. But again, since it's all random, we don't really know what's going to happen anymore. So he's going to just make the best decisions he can.
Nice. Loves a one shot.
Nice. It's actually working out really nicely so far.
Yeah, for a 4 reds, this is turning out all right so far. But it's not over till it's over, though, just because the reds have only have 1 more health, but they do have kind of significantly more defense. So yeah, like Robo is actually pretty over leveled at this point. He's level 10. I think the rest of them are like level 5 at this point, but he still only did 1.
Yeah, if you can make it through this fight without taking any damage on Chrono or Luca, or sorry, Tacos or Arby's, then you can skip menuing and healing after this fight. But I think Plexo might heal anyway.
Probably do it for safety.
Yeah, just for safety, I'm going to do it anyway, just because I'm going to level off this fight, I believe, too.
That was a good fight.
Yep. That was actually really good for what you
For
got.
4 reds, that was pretty good, yeah.
I do always appreciate clapping for RNG.
Same. Yeah, so since he is off manipulation now, just because you can't really control that fight, our series will actually become a very, very dangerous fight because, again, he is very under level.
Right, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I had Robo kind of carry me through the 2 encounters I had to fight here, but unfortunately he doesn't he doesn't get to fight his cousins.
Yeah, we are level 6 at the moment, going into our series.
And yeah, as mentioned earlier, there are some fights where you can manipulate the RNG, and this is one of the ones where you cannot, and as a result, he's just going to have to react to what happens. And one such thing that can happen is real bad, and hopefully...
Unfortunately, also extremely rare, but I did come prepared for it.
Yep. And that is why he has the revive, just in case Luca takes every single attack. She will die, and that would be really unfortunate, so he has a revive for that case.
One really nice pattern is you'll get the 3 opening tackles on Chrono, and the pattern is 30, 32, 30, and we call that the Warrior. Because this guy right here mapped out all the possible patterns for our series, and that has really helped us out analyzing and coming with strats. So yeah, that's good times.
How many different patterns are there? 16 or 256?
Oh, yeah, about 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's worth noting too that even though we're not on like manipulation as is normally done in this run, the R series AI is pretty easy to manipulate just by what we do, even if we're not like in total control over like how much damage each attack does and stuff like that. So you're going to see that as far as like which order I attack them in.
I think it's just mostly like kind of easy to take for granted. In most cases, you're going to be fine, but there's probably some cases that I'm sure these 2 guys know way more than I do that you kind of just want to be ready for, or else maybe you just end up playing it like way too safe. So I would imagine what they came up with is just that nice point of fast and also effective.
Yeah, because I did turn the battle speed down from 1 to 2 just to both make this a bit safer and also for another reason in Heckran's cave coming up too that we'll get into later.
That's a sick line.
Alright, let's see what happens here.
Do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Alright,
Should not need the safety revive now.
this is fine.
Easy fight.
Alright,
Every time, people.
easy every time.
All right.
Nice.
So yeah, like kind of mentioned before, the order that I did my cyclones in was part of just dodging any opportunity for them to use their nastiest attacks. 'Cause, like I think it's when we're down to like 2 of them or so, they can do this kind of like volleyball passing attack with your characters, or they have like an explosion attack that I think they do as a counter at low health too.
Robo-thump.
All right, so now we get introduced to the game's kind of lore, I guess, for why you have a 3-character limit, which is the end of time, and we're going to meet the Guru of Time, and then also learn some magic, and then while we're doing it, let's have some magic of donations too.
Awesome. I have $1,000 from Terrain. And Terrain says hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I have $50 from Bass Guitar Bill. Good luck to my Cuso Grande rival, the one and only Puexel. You can choose where this $50 goes. $100 from Lavo Spawn. Hey Puexel, I'm staying late at work today because I'm so excited to see you running at SGDQ. You were the first person I ever watched on Twitch, and your consistently positive attitude has made a lasting impression on me as a viewer. Good luck with the run. Put my money towards Jeff as the player name for Earthbound.
Oh, thanks, Lavo Spawn.
I'm just imagining a lava spawn at like a desk in an office.
$150 from RPG Chick. Chrono Trigger hype.
Nice.
Hype.
One important thing to note too is that as of now we actually have access to the final boss, the final battle with Lavos by going through that bucket too. Since this is an any % category, we don't have to complete all the side quests or really pretty much anything else that's not kind of required to beat Lavos and get a good ending. So kind of from here on out, the routing becomes about just kind of what exactly we need to do in order to be able to defeat Lavos consistently.
Right, because we go there right now, we're just going to get obliterated in the first attack, basically.
No, we do have an important skip coming up here too. The almighty Specchio skip. Oh, kind of missed there, Luca. And got it.
All right.
We did it.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's about the amount of clapping deserved
Yeah.
for that.
That was, yeah.
Oh,
We messed up.
goodness.
That was a golf clap moment. But it's okay.
It's just one of those things where it's just kind of easy to space out and mash, and then if you say yes to fighting Specchio, in this case, it's way faster to actually just win than to actually try to lose to him.
Now for some delicious cake.
Oops.
Nice.
Beautiful.
See ya.
Yeah. Shoutouts to Arzen.
Oh, hey, remembering the tabs, nice. Yeah, so that's called a cake dash. You just, I don't even know how it works. You tell me how it works.
Well, that's one of those. There's a couple of skips in the game that are possible where you swap your party to regain control, and that's pretty much the extent of it.
Alrighty.
Okay, so since I'm not on Manip for this very first fight here, I'm pretty much just hoping for that, actually. Because if Marley, who's berserked,
Nice.
gets a critical, that'll one-shot one of them, and then Chrono can take care of the other one.
Berserk Marley is hilarious. She looks like a tomato.
This would be a great time to explain the kind of the tech involved with running away from battles in this game, too.
Why don't you go for it?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, the runaway counter in the game, it simply counts the number of frames you have L and R held. So it's looking for you to be holding it for 2 seconds, but that counter begins slightly before the battle menu even begins to appear, and it continues to count even when you're in a menu like your tech menu. So what Puexel is doing is opening his tech menu to let the counter, increment up to, and then and then when he leaves the menu, he instantly runs.
Yeah, so that both saves time and is also good for safety too, because it's as long as I'm on my game, it's guaranteeing that I run away before getting attacked.
So again, another instance of a fade out to skip a fight trigger, or I guess more accurately, trigger it but not actually have to fight it.
Yeah. Okay, got the bad
That's
skip.
good. Nice.
That one's a little sensitive as far as how I round that last corner.
And now we have a big time boss skip coming up. Heckran is no joke. The setup for it's somewhat similar. So again, he's going to keep interrupting the transition to get that save anywhere going on. But here, bypassing the trigger is not so easy as the Acro, where you just kind of run up to a spot save and you're good. He does have to walk into the trigger and a little bit past it, but he doesn't have a lot of time to get into the menu and save like he just did before he triggers. So you kind of saw the first time around it didn't work out, but this time around it did. And that's why this one's just a little bit trickier, because it's much harder to get in that tiny window to get into your menu and save.
And see ya.
The results of that glitch just look hilarious.
Yeah. So what basically happened here is that I kind of clipped through the trigger for the Heckran boss fight by using the save anywhere glitch, and then triggered the cutscene that normally happens after you defeat Heckran. And then because I got to that cutscene, the game was kind of gracious enough to assume that I'd actually fought Heckran, and then just kind of let me go. I could have actually just skipped that though and jumped into the pool, but then that messes up the kind of the story advancement in the game, and I'm not actually able to make progress.
And like what makes it really hard is you don't just get to run up and save. You'll never get it at that point in time. So there's actually a little bit of movement tricks that you got to do that I believe was described as kind of like running, letting go of run, kind of starting up the run again to kind of just stutter yourself a little bit so that you kind of fall into this window where the trigger won't actually activate.
Yeah, you're trying to hit a certain spot in the 28 frame cycle where the trigger will take longer to activate. Right.
And it's because of that delay you're able to save it there and then bypass it. So you don't get to just kind of run head on and hope that and have it work. Unfortunately, it does actually require good movement on your part.
Remember bird skip?
Yeah. Right, there we go.
That's 2.
Bird skip for 2.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Bird Skip 3. I hear it's going to be even better than 1 and
Bird
2.
Skip 3 is the most important one, though. As for, not really, I mean, it's the same skip, but it matters more for time in the run because of RNG manipulation.
Oh, hey. Cutscenes.
Yeah, there's a lot of triggers they'll have to do to be able to cross that bridge.
Yeah, we can fit in a few more donations here, but did we actually explain how text canceling works during the Yakra skip?
I don't believe so.
Oh.
Because I'm going to attempt to do it a bit here during this cutscene with the chef, although it's not. It's just kind of a micro optimization.
Yeah, basically it's just scrolling an NPC off screen while its text is writing out will instantly close the text and advance it through. So that was that. Yeah.
You could maybe fit in probably one message or one comment.
Yeah.
I have $30 from Omicron. The black wind howls. The animals will shortly perish.
Nice. Good.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So he's going to make a quick detour to the cathedral. We want to have save anywhere set up for a skip we're about to do. And there's actually 2 ways to get it. And one of them was from the end of time, which is really challenging. Would be about 10 seconds faster, but it's really hard to set up. So instead we're going to come into the cathedral and we'll just set up there's a save point really early in
Because
here.
even though I had save anywhere to skip Heckran when I went through the end of time, because that area has a save point in it, it caused the game to kind of correct itself, basically.
So it's the same thing, get a fade out, store it until you walk out of the save point, then he can make his way out again.
Yes, I don't know if you remember, but we are kind of not a very high level. So there's bosses like Heckran and Zombor coming up that are not very easy. So thankfully, again, applying the same tech that you've been seeing now, Zombor on the bridge can also get skipped. Again, it's a bit more complicated than Yakra, but follows a lot of the same principles. So one of the first things he's trying to do is kind of get past this guard here, or else you get stopped like that and you have to try again.
Try to back up a few times quick, just to see if I can kind of blindly get it. Might be far enough.
And you can make use of all three of your save slots.
I'm just gonna leave.
And just kind of double check whether or not you got it successfully.
Yeah. What's kind of interesting is the 28 frame cycle that this trigger is based on.
Should do it.
It's about 159 BPM, which is the BPM of the castle and the bridge song.
Wow.
It's kind of a coincidence. I can't really make any use of it, but it's funny trivia.
Wow.
So perfect example of like you don't just get to run straight, hit save, and move on. You do have to very much make sure not only do you get past a certain line, but and you're able to do that because of being in that little small frame window. Yeah, there you go. And we're not done yet, by the way. We have to do that again right past that
Fortunately,
guard.
the second half of it is much, much easier.
Yeah. And it's really easy to see if you got it or not, which you did. So you do have to punch that guy real quick, and then you move on, and you don't have to fight any of that stuff.
See ya, Zombor.
So now we're going to do some shopping and some more unequipping. The way this glitch works is pretty interesting. It might be a good time to talk about that, perhaps?
Would you go ahead?
Sure. Well, let's see. To perform the de-equip glitch, you shift to a different character and press up at on the same frame. There's a lot of rules involved with it, but the effect of it is that on the English version, each item that you de-equip after your character gives you about adds 15 magic resistance. So that's basically meaning it'll cut the magic damage you receive by 75%. 2 items de-equipped cuts it by 90%, so you're taking only 10% damage. Also, okay, on the English version, it also gives you a magic attack boost, which is very unique. It'll boost by 10 magic power per de-equip, so it's very significant. And you'll see the effects of that coming up in this next boss.
Yeah, also, I just used Save Anywhere again in order to clip through the cliffs there and skip both the cutscene and then 2 battles. Call that the Tata skip.
Indeed. Wow, excuse me. And yeah, so the effects of the equipment glitch are going to be really, really important coming up real soon. And obviously, Save Anywhere is still persisting, so we're able to do that skip there.
You also saw Puexel kind of use his own kind of timing or buffer method to make sure try to make sure that he loads at the correct set amount of fractions of a second by kind of cycling through the save files and then finally selecting his save. But, I think a lot of people use that method. I know our boy Chrono Kirby likes to have his metronome, and I'm not sure if other runners do other things. But
well, metronome's pretty much the standard now.
I gotcha. Fair enough.
Really, skipping the battle trigger in that room is very, very important too, because it's like 5 or 6 battles back to back, all of which are unrunnable. If I'd have actually hit that, I would have actually just reset back to my Tata skip save.
Quick detour down here to grab the silver stud and silver arrow.
Kind of the fastest possible route for this category actually skips both of those, but I'm using them for my strats for the final battles. Also, once you've gone through that room once and kind of exited through the left side, the game deactivates the consecutive battle trigger there.
This is a nice track, by the way.
Agreed.
Also,
Mountains are nice.
Mountains are nice.
All right, so it's worth noting that he has carried an RNG manipulation from the bottom of the mountain, and he'll know if it's right only after starting the Masa Mune fight, which will be very shortly.
What I'm looking for is for Chrono to get punched for 33 damage right at the start of the fight. So that'll tell me I'm good to follow my kind of my boss battle script for this.
Yeah, you'll definitely see times where you might have wanted to, or you might feel like you should have played safer, but again, since he's on the scripts, if so to speak, then it's not really a big deal. First thing he's going to do, as long as he's on the right string, which is good, is Hypno Wave, and since he's on the correct string, it guarantees both dudes fall asleep and don't do anything to him. And then he's just going to beat down the left one because you don't get countered by the left one. And if you remember, all you have to do is beat one of them to beat this phase of the battle. And because of the unequipped glitch that Redslash explained, I already made mention that there is a magic boost increase by doing that. So you're going to see strictly magic-based attacks for a lot of these, especially this fight here too. Mostly Antipode from the girls, and then Chrono's gonna, or Tacos is gonna use Slash, which you probably literally never used in your casual play, but it's actually quite amazing.
Because Chrono's magic stat is actually pretty bad at low levels, but thanks to the equip glitch, it's actually pretty much this. I mean, he does more damage in most cases by getting a critical hit, but like here, when I know I'm not going to get a critical hit, I'm going to use Slash instead.
So Slash is a magic-based attack, which you may not be aware of. It's also like a fairly quick animation, does good damage, and yeah, so there's really no reason not to use it. And now we get our first instance of a kind of boss battle here. Under normal circumstances, if you weren't manipulating, then you don't know what Masa and Mune are going to do, and he does a lot of good damage. He's pretty buff. I mean, you can look at him yourself, right? But again, he knows exactly what's going to be going on here, so it's just not dangerous as long as Puexl, does what he's supposed to do.
Yep. Stand for his knees. Oh.
Yeah.
That said, he does have to make sure to use specific timing at specific moments in this battle. He'll need to wait a couple times for Masa Mune to make particular attacks before he takes his turn.
In fact, I thought I was in a different part, so I was actually supposed to wait for that one. So this is actually going to throw it off a little bit, but I've got backups.
So ultimately what this most likely means is Puexl will just have to play it a little safer, make use of some of the healing that he bought, which I would assume that he bought a little bit extra of.
Yeah, just for cases like this.
Yeah, and then it'll be fine. It might take a little longer, but it is what it is. You can see there too, that probably would have normally hurt, but because he has like plus 90 magic resist or whatever, that ability, did 6 damage, wasn't a big deal.
And it's worth noting that the bonuses from the equipment glitch in the American version don't extend to fire damage, so that will be the one thing that is still pretty scary.
All right. And that's probably really the only key difference is kind of what you saw right there, of like 3 turns of healing. You probably wouldn't have seen that. But other than that, I mean, it doesn't change the fight that much.
It does mean I'm going to have to reset again to fix the RNG before it becomes relevant again.
Yeah. Thankfully, there's a plethora of, or it seems like there's a plethora of backup loads in case you mess up somewhere. Oops.
Oh, wow.
Goodbye.
That's fast. This should kill him, if not the next one will. There we go.
Good.
So yeah, the reason we kind of those shenanigans at the end had happened was basically because I made a mistake and didn't wait for him to use that wind attack on Marley before I queued up the next antipode. In a lot of cases, that I wouldn't have even had the opportunity to do so, but just since I was kind of really fast at queuing my first round of commands, their turns both came up before kind of that critical point there.
And that fight does show you a couple things. One is that obviously it's very precise doing the RNG manipulation, so there's still a lot of room for error and things to happen. And then, of course, also the value of just having backups and plans to be able to compensate for, you know, oops, I'm not on the manipulation anymore. And obviously you saw there that it wasn't that big of a deal. A little bit scary, but...
So you can do a bright load directly after Masa Mune if you're off RNG.
Oh, okay.
If you'd like to.
I will do that then. The one I'm more familiar with is before Reptites.
Right.
And we're back. Everything's fine.
So just stopping by Tada's house here to pick up the hero medal, which we need in order to be able to kind of move on to the next leg of the story, which is finding the Masa Mune.
Yeah.
Little brief pit stop here too to sell the jerky that I was supposed to give to the knights on Xenon Bridge, but because of the Zombor skip, I still have it. And then just for just for marathon safety, for being able to afford some extra healing supplies, I'm going to.
We'll definitely take that money.
That.
No news.
Yeah.
No news is bad news. I also didn't know until like yesterday. You saw Puexel, maybe he'll just walk through like 3 frogs. Apparently,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
I'll keep your eye open for Luca's moonwalk here.
Yay!
Nice. It's right there with the Setzer slide.
I'm glad that we got the hilt of the Masa Mune from the trash here when it was clearly sticking out of the ground at the top of Denadora, but whatever.
Dang.
Yeah, every time we go through this forest, we have a 1 out of 4 chance to see a new, which in casual play is just, it's an opportunity to get a bunch of tech points, because if you actually fight it, then I don't know, it's worth like 40 tech points or something like that, which is a lot at this point in the game. But in a speedrun, we just kind of viewed new sightings there as a sign of good luck. And this is our one and only trip through Truce Canyon, where there's just nothing we can do about the bridge encounter, so we just run away from it, and it's part of the manip route.
A lot of moonwalking from Love there.
Probably do a donation too, though. I'm going to be doing another fade out skip in order to talk to Melchior to advance the story, but not actually have to do so. That's what kind of guy I am.
It's probably pretty self-explanatory. You probably fit a couple comments in.
Awesome. I have $150 from LolStars110. Says, hello SGDQ, I'm super hyped for Taco's Trigger and Diablo 2 tomorrow. Good luck to Puexel and Mr. Llama. Shoutouts to my buddies Martin and the Beepers.
Nice.
I'd like to point out that we have met the incentive for having the Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, Level 1 Terra, and Lingering Will. That donation incentive has been met.
All right, go ahead and change my runner's choice to the Sephiroth fight then in Kingdom Hearts 2.
All right. The Sephiroth fight is currently about $1,000 away. So it's very close, people. And a reminder, if you
it's
donate...
time to cut off Ayla, too.
Okay, a reminder, if you donate $150, you can be put in the drawing for the GDQ Custom Corsair PC.
I just love that they're just aimlessly wandering back and forth.
Ooh, nice.
Good.
That was an 8-frame window to get that second reptile from the left to move up so you could slash 2 at once.
We got it.
Yeah, it was a little more awkward, too, just because I'm used to Chrono's cursor being set to tech here instead of item.
Right.
But we made it. When I did the Melchior skip too, by the way, it wasn't visually obvious to me that I actually got the skip too, because I didn't see Chrono start to walk backwards before the screen faded out. So I actually just quick saved the game, and the fact that the chapter name advanced to the rare red rock told me that I got the skip. All right, one more fight with Reptites here, and then it's time to name Ayla.
Should be okay.
Hello?
What happened to the flame toss?
What was that?
I coded, or I guess you got put to sleep and then woken up by the second rock.
Yeah, must be.
But yeah, again, the backup strats I had to do on Masa Mune kind of threw me off a little bit on these fights just because of having characters on item instead of tech. All right, so what is Ayla's name?
Ayla's name is going to be OBB. Ob.
In all caps? Or?
All caps.
Unique.
So, Ob like tacos.
It would have actually been a bit faster and easier to do those two fights with Robo, by the way, too, because with the even without the equip glitch, actually you can just one-shot the Reptites with his laser spin. But if you have Robo here, there's actually more dialogue with Ayla afterwards. So we do it with Marley and Luca, and then switch afterwards because. There's a cutscene coming up that has a couple different variations on it depending on who's in your party, and then having Marley with you gives you the absolute slowest possible version of it too, so we want to get her out as soon as possible.
You just don't have any time for love.
Gotta go fast.
All right, it's party time.
Strong man, tacos.
Yeah, so with this party, which gives me the fastest possible version here, I just need to talk to Robo, then gonna wait for him to stop dancing here, and then go back and talk to Ayla. That is a very creepy laughing animation too with Robo. And this is a kind of one of the few kind of required mini games you have to do, and it's just mashing basically, and it's not terribly demanding.
Have you managed to try out Mash Attack yet?
Yes, it confirmed my pre-existing suspicions that I'm best off running RPGs. So while we finish drinking our soup, as I call it, have a little bit more before we get to head off to look for the stolen gate key. So take it away, Iceplug.
All right. I have $500 from Scurvy Dog.
Nice.
Says, hey runners, organizers, and fellow awestruck fans. This is the third year I've caught this marathon live, and I love to take the opportunity each time to support Médecins Sans Frontières. These people are working in the most dangerous locations on the planet in order to help those who need it most. I only wish I had more to give, but I suppose that's where my fellow donors come into the picture. I look forward to seeing us bust the 2 million mark this time around. Best of luck on the rest of the run, Poexel.
Thank you.
I have $25 from Rizu-kun. Hi,
Yo.
everyone.
Hey, Rizu.
It's your friendly neighborhood Rizu-kun. I wish I could be there this year, but the real world can be unforgiving in its demands. Poexel, good luck on the run. And Beak and Vulajin, always great to see you on the couch. I miss you all tremendously. From Connecticut with love. Love! And tacos. Rizu.
Thanks, Rizu.
Thank you.
So did the fade out glitch there to skip the keynote cutscene, and then all of the battle triggers along the direct route through the forest maze are avoidable. So if I actually get any fights here, it's on me.
Yeah, again, it's just kind of studying up real quick either on someone's movement or on the map with all the encounter triggers, and just making sure you know the movement and walk around them, and it's all good. And then we're going to hop down this hole real quick and then get into a couple fights and see what's going on.
Yeah, we'll know right away if that issue with the reptites actually messed up my manip for Nizbel or not.
Hard to say.
Yeah, it's still kind of questionable, because usually if I'm fast at getting to that hole to start the encounter, Chrono will get hit for 34 by the first Evil Weevil. Amazing translation, by the way. Has nothing whatsoever to do with that monster's name in the Japanese version.
So raise your hand if when you were a kid you did not know that thunder stunned all dinosaur.
Dang.
Okay, this is starting to look good now. This is kind of it's pretty much looking exactly like my practice run now as far as the damage numbers I got in the Megasaur.
This is definitely a fight that's real nice when it's manipulated. Nizbel coming up, I mean.
And this ape is pretty nearsighted here too.
Sad.
Basically, I just need to wait for him to be facing down in order to skip the battle trigger.
I'm going to be seeing the first, but not the last of Berserk. Isla, or what's her name now? Ob? Berserk Ob? Yeah, whatever. If you're familiar with her casually, you know she's pretty dang strong.
Yeah, and especially now, just given, because there's no party level averaging or anything in Chrono Trigger. When new characters join you, it's at a fixed level. I think Ayla's like 15 or so at this point.
Yeah, almost
she
triple
is,
you.
Yeah, so she is really, really strong compared to Chrono and Luca.
All right, so what's cool about manipulation, and one of the biggest things that comes from that, besides what's already been talking about, is moving through the crit table. And certain actions will advance the RNG string. I think physicals are 1 and magic attacks are 2. And and the actions they do will also determine whether Isla's attack is going to be a crit or not based upon what you're doing. So what you're going to see is a bunch of those where she's just going to crit for 400, which is a lot of damage. And since she's a Berserk, she's doing more damage. She's getting her turns a lot faster. So when you're on the correct string and you're making sure every time her turn comes up that she's going to, you know, it's going to be her turn to crit, then you're going to do a lot of damage. Otherwise, you're kind of just sitting and hoping. But you don't have to hope because you can just make it happen. It's pretty nice.
And of course, thanks to the equipment or unequipment glitch, that lightning release is just not at all threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did a bit of extra damage to Ayla just because she only had her armor unequipped, not her helmet, but it's still chip damage for me.
Yeah, you can tell you were on RNG. The 5 crits string is the longest string that you can possibly get.
That's Nizbel.
Nice.
5?
Yep.
I'm loving these names.
So because Ayla leaves us now until after we've defeated Magus, we unfortunately also lose the Berserker she had on her. But fortunately we can get another one relatively soon. Oops. I was a little too far off. I was going to actually trying to skip that text right there just by kind of bonking into the corner of the door and then squeezing around to go out.
Yeah.
Save like 2 seconds or so.
Oh, you lost so many seconds there.
It's important here, too, that I start this encounter from above because then the Killwallas join and I can get rid of them. Here's my second Berserker here. I also unequipped Ayla's Ruby Vest too, not really specifically because of the Nizbel fight, but so that I can use it in Magus's castle and beyond.
It's worth noting too that although Ayla has left the team, she is still getting the experience that all the other out-of-party members are gaining, which is 75% of all experience. So that's really handy.
Compared to other RPGs that even do that type of thing, that's pretty generous.
Right, absolutely.
So now we have to watch all sorts of lengthy cutscenes, right? Involving making a sword.
Well,
kind of.
We do see some cutscenes involving a sword. Along with a fan favorite here, Corridors of Time. It's got like a bunch of different names though, because of translation differences. Walking into Melchior when he's stopped too does speed up the cutscene a little bit too, along with expressing my impatience.
All right, bring me the Dreamstone. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, the ways I was able to also kind of short circuit that a bit too by doing a party formation swap after I had already kind of touched the staircase there too by swapping Robo for Marley. Kind of ended up that the game was just kind of confused as far as who was supposed to help Melchior forge the Masa Mune, and nobody did as a result. There's some other fun glitches you can do with that too, like you can glitch out Melchior's text too, where he like says, "Sorry, Melchior is not home right now." So now we've got bird skip number 3 coming up too, which is extra important because if I make this bird skip, then I can just go all the way into Magus's castle without having to reset to change my RNG seed.
Nice.
Nice. Easy every time.
3 for 3.
All right, now we've got 2 more shots at a new sighting too. Soon to be followed by many shots at Iceplug to read donation comments too, just because Frog's flashbacks that we're about to get are pretty much the longest string of kind of cutscenes that there's really nothing we can do to. Not really much we can do to shorten or skip parts of.
This is officially it.
Yes, it is now officially to earn.
Sub 3 guaranteed.
Definitely.
All right, so go ahead, Iceplug.
All right, I have many $150 donations.
Nice.
$150 from Adam I. Been donating to GDQ for the past few years. I love all the speedruns. Keep up the good work. $150 from Incandescent Owl. Good luck to all the remaining runners and a huge appreciation to everyone involved for the hard work, providing some great entertainment for a great cause. Donation goes to the choice of the guy behind the couch in the sunglasses.
I can tell without looking at Stars King.
$150 from...
Yeah, my guess was it was either Ghost King or somebody put some sunglasses on Julius.
$150 from Lars V. Hey Poex, I have greatly enjoyed watching your training for this run. Good luck and toss my monies to Runner's Choice. $150 from Sexy Polar Bear. Thanks for the excellent commentary and entertainment, Pwexl and crew. What was your favorite Final Fantasy game again?
Check the FAQ on my Twitch bio.
Keep them coming. We got a ways.
$100 from Life188. Can I hear you guys do your best impression of the Lavos screen?
Ooh, I'm not sure the audio guys want us to do that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, he said go for it. Who here? Wow.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Me likey.
I have other
Cyrus
donations
didn't
to
like
read.
that too much, though.
I told you he was a god. I didn't lie. Still got time.
$50 from DC Enigma 172. Hey Pwexl, glad to hear that you are a believer in the correct pronunciation of Marley's name. Love the game and hope the run goes great. $50 from Gaudrin. I can't tune in live, but had to donate for my favorite runner playing my favorite game. I'll donate an extra $35 if I hear this when I was the VOD tomorrow. Good luck, Pwexl. Like Glenn, you are a marshmallow.
Dang.
Can't really argue.
$50 from Tedic. As an avid Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, I would be remiss if I didn't push for Ayla to be named Ega. $50 from Kaishura. Hi,
Yo.
president of the official Pwexl fan club here. Did I hear jerk? I heard that Pwexl is the meanest American that people have met. He plays games that we all love with amazing menuing speed and astounding commentary? Definitely a jerk. Here's $50 towards Pwexl's choice. Good luck. May the new bless new.
Thanks, Anna. This was blessed by the new.
You.
Oh, hey, look, more cutscenes. Keep on going.
$50 from Balthazar228. Chrono Trigger is confirmed best Final Fantasy. Good luck, Pwexl. My favorite game of all time. Money towards Ega. So many donations toward Ega. Still beat out by OBB. You gotta be down with OBB.
Here's the line.
$50 from Oyster. Exciting to see any percent done for the first time at a GDQ with my homies Redslash and SNES Warrior on the couch. Greetings from the front row.
Thank you, Oyster.
I'd like to take a minute to remind you of our upcoming donation incentives. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, Level 1 Sephiroth fight, only about $500 away from getting met. This just needs a little bit of a push, and it'll be there. And again, if you donate $150 during the course of this marathon, you can be put into the drawing to win the GDQ Custom Corsair PC. Only $150 to be put into the drawing. You'll also, if you donate during this run, you'll be put in for a chance to win one of many delightful Chrono Trigger based prizes.
A little fun thing here too. Notice how the chest on this screen is actually open. It's just about to come on camera too, because it's using the same map from Denadoro, and it didn't bother updating it.
I have $5 from Fierce Deku that says new. $50 from Nani that says I love you. I love you too.
One of the most iconic scenes from this game.
I really want a sword that can cut open a mountain.
Certainly make getting around a lot easier.
Alright, back to
All right, back to gameplay. So this will be my kind of last cue that my RNG is set correctly for the start of Magus's castle. If I get hit for 19 here,
Nice.
So we're going to do kind of a magic trick here to make these enemies disappear, and Frog will be pretty impressed by that.
yeah, those enemies actually have pretty high physical defense, so you're kind of expected to use magic to kill them.
All right, let's do this.
All right.
So obviously we'll need to defeat all 100 beasts in Magus's lair.
Using magic. So Magus's castle is one of my favorite parts of the run too, just because there's some very fun and very cool boss fights, along with a lot of really neat encounter skips too.
Yeah, it kind of has it all, like funny stuff and then really intense stuff and fighting some fights, dodging some others. It's got it. It's got everything. Check out that bat.
Yeah.
It's my boy.
It's attempting to join the ranks of the big bats.
This beginning part obviously is a tiny bit tedious. You just have to go to each side of the castle for no specific reason.
Yeah.
And if it matters, then yet another sign of whether or not he's on the RNG, but he already knows, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, we'll see once for this fight here, which is I'm using the unequipped glitch in order to one-shot all 8 enemies here with rocket roll, but one of them's gonna get an attack off before I can do so because of how slow Robo is, and if it's 46 or 45 on Frog, then I know I'm good for Flea. Nice. Geez, this is an opportunity to set Frog's cursor on Tac 2 for later.
As we never really totally mentioned Memory Cursor, but he is making pretty extensive use of it throughout the run. He'll make sure you have to actually confirm an action with a given character for it to remember that that's where your cursor should be.
All right, casually, this is Flea is a fight that's coming up here that can actually be pretty trolly, but thankfully, we got a nice trick coming up, and he knows that trick's going to be workable because the RNG is going exactly the way he wants it to. We're talking about actual Flea, not Flea question mark, of course.
Yeah.
You want to kill Flea question mark with Frog because he doesn't need the MP anyway. He's got the Berserker on.
Yeah, this is what I like to call Poison Dart Frog mode.
Yeah. So there's a certain trick that's going to happen here. I want to see how long it takes people to recognize what's going on here.
Flea's really laughing too.
I love the background for this fight.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it doesn't really create much lag too, which is kind of surprising.
All right, pay attention to this hot tech. You're doing a really good job, Wexel.
This is pretty precise
Yeah.
in what's going on here.
It's frame perfect so far.
You got this, dude.
Yeah.
You got this. So Flea's spells are typically really bad, but I'm sure Redslash will elaborate, but with the RNG string, basically, I know it was explained to me a super long time ago. I don't think it's actually the case anymore. It's kind of ATB based where they seem to kind of take their turns at the same time, and Frog just kind of superseded Flea's actions every time. I'm not sure that's actually thought of as the case anymore. This was like years and years ago. But just kind of in a nutshell, for whatever reason, Flea just kind of takes a beating while Frog beats on him. So it's really easy, which is really nice because he can actually be really, really bad.
Yeah, Flea has a very nasty counterattack that hits your whole party along with some status conditions too. But yeah, the setting up that stun lock, it requires the RNG manipulation, but the kind of what really sets it off is just having a berserked character. I don't think we actually ever explained X button attacking too. We should probably do that.
Right. I don't think we have.
'Cause it's very important for the Slash fight.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if your battle cursor is set to memory in your menu, then you have the option to hold your menu button, X by default, in order to attack instantly on the first possible frame. So that's what he's doing
right there.
here.
Yeah.
In this fight too, I did have to have Chrono specifically attack the lower leftmost skeleton in order to kill it before it would get an attack.
Okay, so Slash is definitely a fight Phuox will have to focus on, especially the second phase. Again, because there's RNG manipulation, it might feel very easy to just kind of I attack here, I use this here, I use this here, but there are some pretty small windows by which he has to input certain things or else everything goes crazy.
Yeah, queuing at mid-tonic with Robo at the end of the Flea fight was just kind of part of setting up for this too, just to make it a bit easier at one kind of very crucial juncture.
There are two phases of Slash, one where he goes hand-to-hand, one where he picks up his sword. For whatever reason combined, he has more HP than his boss, but it is what it is. A lot of what's going to be happening here is fairly simple. He's just going to keep beating on him, but it gets a little bit more complex a little bit later.
Yeah, because Slash has very high magic defense, so the fastest way to beat him is just to just pretty much go ham with physical attacks, especially with Frog having the Berserker.
And he's not so bad right now, even if he weren't on manipulation. Once he picks up his sword, and especially when he's kind of getting close to dead and he starts countering a lot of what you do, he puts out a lot of damage. That's something to be careful about. Even when you're manipulating, you still have to be ready for some of the things that he'll do. This is also one of my favorite fights because he beats you up so much that you can kind of barely win by a thread. Here we go. Phase one down, nice and easy.
Another nice thing about X button attacking too is that it doesn't matter where your memory cursor is set to. It can be on either tech or item, and holding X will still just cause you to queue a physical attack on the first frame you can. Something a lot of people don't know about for this game too, just because it does require changing one of the default battle settings as far as turning on memory cursor for it to even work.
So it's kind of one of those other situations here too. You can sit with Ryan D here at 15 hit points for a bit. It's just something you're not going to worry about because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah, because I'm taking very low damage from his slash attacks because of the equipment glitch, because slash attack is considered light element. We're starting to come up on one of the kind of most critical parts of the fight.
Yeah, he's going to start pumping out the damage here. And he'll take some turns, actions pretty quick, and a heal has to go off. You kind of saw him like moving right towards Frog and Chrono there, and we had to make sure that happened before he got slashed there. was your first. Yes, indeed. Goodbye.
Down goes Robo. Whew.
So there you go.
Yeah,
Good
there we
fight.
Just telling us earlier, that's the best one.
Yeah, 5 and 4.
That's why I like that fight.
Yeah, because when he's below, I think it's like it's either 500 or 600 health. He starts counterattacking basically everything with yes indeed, and he has access to his nastier attacks too, like that spin cut move at that point too. So it's just a really, really scary part if you're off Manip.
Yeah, shoutouts to Keeley for creating that boss skip. That was back in 2013. You might have heard his name for his task work, but he created the flee and the slash manipulation, the Nizbel, and also some of the later things you'll see, the elixir glitch application, and so forth.
There's a lot of cool people involved with this community. It's probably one of my more favorite ones. Half of them I probably don't even know anymore because I haven't really had my head in there. But, you know, the two guys at the end there, if you haven't, you know, they've been mentioned before, great people. Chrono Kirby, Magus and Genya, of course, used to run the game. Obda was brought up before.
Ottavino.
Ottavino.
It's a really, really important
crap ton of
person
work.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well that all the glitches and the applications of the glitches were known in this game since probably 2008. Inichi was the one who found all these, but it wasn't until Opta Jr. started to break down the Chrono Trigger into the modern speedrun route that we started to see people actually doing single segments using all that. So that was really cool.
I just love this entire section of Magus' tower.
Yeah, the guillotines only really hurt you when those sparks are visible.
I think you guys will enjoy some of the encounter skips that are coming, like that one.
As it turns out,
Must have just
not
missed them, I
moving.
guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Donkey Kong.
Very nice. A little bit of precise movement here,
Yeah. It's
but
just,
using the floor tile patterns, he's able to figure out where exactly to go to dodge those holes that'll open up in the floor.
yeah, just kind of remembering where everything is.
Second verse, same as the first.
Let's check out my boy here. What's he gonna do? He's gonna get you, dude. He's gonna get you.
Oh, but he's gonna go around them.
Never mind.
Oh, well, see ya.
What a guy.
And for rounding the corners to dodge those outlaw enemies too, I was also kind of buffering my movement in order to hit the first pixel that I could.
Groupie is a fantastic enemy name.
Question's been burning in my mind. Has anyone else tried to count all 100 of the enemies in Magus' castle?
As a matter of fact,
Probably a good chunk of us on this couch have at some point in our lives. I know I certainly did back in the day.
and as it turns out, spoilers, there are, in fact, 100 enemies. Unique
Obviously not
enemies.
counting like respawns that you do.
Right.
What do you want to kind of explain how jugglers work too? Just 'cause it's one of the more complicated fights.
Sure. The juggler enemies, they begin with their magic defense lowered and their physical defense up. But when you attack them with magic, then they'll swap that so that they have their physical defense lowered. So they're kind of juggling their resistance. And for a while, we had a laser spin strat here with a Robo to hit all 4 of the jugglers twice, and it was pretty impressive, but pretty dangerous. And it turned out that this X-Strike strat was a little bit faster anyway, and safer. RNG
RNG
purposes.
It's not really dangerous in terms of death,
Right.
but dangerous in terms of falling off the RNG maneuver.
Right, it was very tight.
Ozzy's so mad there he desynced his arm from the lever that he was pulling.
So this room does have encounters in it, but you just skip them by walking on the outside of the statues?
Yeah, and then by going through that door facing sideways, I guarantee skipping the encounter trigger there, which is otherwise a little inconsistent.
Stroke cut.
You know it.
Perfect. Easy.
Ozzy speaks for all of us right now. This fight here too gives me both some visual cues about my my RNG seed being set for Magus, and also an opportunity to correct it if I got into an extra fight in Magus's castle and messed up the input bit. All right, so 119 is what we're looking for there.
All right, we're in there.
Yep.
Bye, Ozzy.
And because he didn't take any damage from any enemies after Slash, he could potentially skip the save point altogether, but I think he'll make a safety save. Yeah.
It's probably a good idea.
All right, well, I said that Frog cutting the mountain is one of the most iconic kind of moments in this game, but coming into one that a lot of people think, myself included, think is a little bit better. Showdown with Magus.
Want to talk about fight strats?
Sure. So, pretty simple on paper. If you remember casually, you hit Magus with a physical, and he will change his magic barrier to a certain element. And so you probably tried to bring a party that was balanced, so you tried to have as much of the elements as possible. But again, because of RNG scripting, that's just not really an issue anymore. So you bring this team. Frog's job, one and only job for the most part, is just to keep bashing him with the Masa Mune to lower his defense. And because of manipulation, the only elements you will see throughout the entire fight for when it matters is lightning and shadow, which happens to be the two things that Puexel has available to him. So it's really simple. You're going to just hit him right here, and 30 damage doesn't mean much, but it will have him kind of proc his barrier change. And Robo's element for his attacks is shadow, his techniques rather. So you got that covered. And when he does change it again, it will be to lightning. And again, we have that too. So it's nice and simple. You will not see any water or fire, and not seeing fire is especially really good because it's the only element that he's not resistant to. And so because of RNG manipulation, this fight becomes really, really simple, despite the fact that he can be very dangerous and has a lot of health, but it's not really a big deal anymore.
6,666 health.
That's correct. So you're kind of seeing a lot of things stacked to the speedrunner's advantage, to where most of Magus's actions are going to be magical, which you're resistant to. And you have to be hurting him with magic, which he got a boost from. And again, Puexel knows exactly which spells are going to come up, so he's ready for them. We got lightning queued up, or going to be queued up for a gajillion damage. And the fight goes by rather smoothly here for phase 1.
You see that he waited for the geyser there. That's a really important aspect of the timing of his strats in this fight and the manipulation.
6,666 hit points is a lot, but when you're every kind of hit you're doing to him is 400, 500, 600 damage, then it's not that big of a deal. And then you take, 15 to 25. I mean, unless he does that, of course.
So we're at the point of the fight where he doesn't change barriers anymore, and pretty soon he's going to start casting dark matter. But until he does, Pweksl has a bit of an opportunity to get a couple more attacks in with the previous weakness. So he just gets 2 more free lightnings here for another like 960 damage.
So in phase 2, on the kind of casual setting, he gets rid of his barriers, and you have X amount of time to try to kill him before he uses Dark Matter on you, which is a very, very powerful spell for this point in the game. And we will not be able to kill him before he does it, but again, because of the unequipped glitch giving him high resistances, it's not really a threat at all, so it's more about just...
Yeah, because Dark Matter is Shadow Element, and we have 90% Shadow resistance right now.
So at this point in time, for the most part, as far as like what the string looks like, you're just beating him down as fast as possible.
Magus's strongest attack. Yeah, watch these damage numbers.
Yep. Boom. I mean, he never did 30 with a magic spell in the fight, so you can tell it's pretty powerful.
Swing his scythe for 77, though.
And because he doesn't have his defenses up anymore, it's just what are kind of your fast, strong abilities that are also going to be giving people crits and whatnot.
Right, and the last magical weakness from the first phase is removed at this point, so there'd be no point in casting that.
And he's going to start charging up, but he shouldn't survive long enough to actually cast it.
There we go.
There we go.
Nice. I see you checking that clock.
Yeah.
156.
I was just looking at that too. That's a very good Magus time.
Yeah, especially given the issues with the Masa Mune fight. That probably cost me like a minute-ish, I'd say, in total.
Right.
My current PB for this category has a high 152 for my Magus time, but keep in mind that's not without renaming characters and
safety saving.
Safety saving and stuff.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. For those of us drinking coffee during this run, this is about a 1-minute coffee break. Magus cup.
I see your Magus cup and I raise you a deer cup.
Excellent.
So yeah, we got a rare cutscene where I don't actually have to mash, where the game just auto advances the text.
I just realized what this dialogue box is.
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness.
So while the game is making us all very, very hungry, let's have some donations, Iceplug.
Tacos. All right, I have $500 from Chris V.
Nice.
No comment. $150 from 0/115. $150 from 0/115. Also no comment. $150 from Dustin Brown. Chrono Trigger is the game that got me truly into JRPGs. Love seeing it speedrun.
I didn't think we'd beat Colonel Fatso, but Tacos is it's top notch.
Yeah,
that's an okay hand from me right there. Probably, no, sorry.
$150 from Taka. Purely coincidental. I'm so happy to donate during Pweksl's run. His beautiful voice lulls me to sleep every Sunday night during his stream, and I have sweet dreams of nude. Ooh. $150 from That's Trifling. Thank you for sparing all those birds, Pweksl. If only all of your fellow speedrunners had such a humane attitude. This goes towards saving the animals.
Rocco's Rest.
Okay. All right, so now we're starting the Tyranno layer segment of the story. We're kind of finishing our business in the prehistoric era. So we've got a cutscene trigger here that's actually just one text box, so it's faster to just run up and get it, and then go back and then start fade outing, if that's a word, to skip the real cutscene here with Ayla and the Laruba Elder.
And it's a substantial cutscene. Like, if you feel like this is ridiculous what he's doing, I promise you it's much faster than the alternative. And we got the Dactyl Nest here, which
this fight looks like it should be avoidable, but it's actually not. If you try to go around the ape, you're just going to get the fight. So I just run straight into the rock enemy to get it over with faster.
I really like this area because there's a number of skips that are just really precise and impressive looking when you like pull them off quickly.
Yeah, not that, I mean, well, I actually can't. Well, yeah, there's one skip in this room and it's pretty easy, but then there's 2 pixel perfect encounter skips in the next room. So hopefully I get them both.
Yeah, you got this.
There's one.
Nice.
One more coming up in a little bit.
There's 2.
Nice.
All right, there you go.
Good job.
Beautiful.
I told you got this.
Yeah.
Easy. Easy every time.
Yeah, for the first one, I kind of ran into that corner and then used pause buffering to basically move 2 pixels to the left to line up with the row of the column of pixels I need to be on to clip around the encounter trigger. And then for the second one, I actually used the grass pattern on the floor as a visual cue to line up Chrono's boot with.
You're on any other line of pixels on either side and you're not going to get it, so it is very, very, very precise. And funny enough, pausing the game to really get those pixels is something relatively new. People used to just beast it.
Just talking about that earlier. Who exactly was the first person to come up with that?
The pause buffer? I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. I think a couple people thought of it, but it didn't really spread.
All right, well, I'll just take credit for it then.
All right, dude.
Sounds right.
You're welcome.
I'll put your name on the wiki for you.
Excellent.
Yeah, no problem. There's a Chrono Trigger wiki, by the way.
Yeah,
throwing that out there.
Yeah, we can definitely toss out the link at the end of the run too. Just
Right on.
anybody's interested in learning to speedrun this game.
Lots and lots and lots of community support. You got the wiki, there's leaderboards there too. There's all kinds of guides, routes, notes, maps, like all kinds of stuff to get you started. There's a whole Discord with all the different games on there. And I know it gets said in like every game that's run here, but there's a lot of resources out there for anybody interested in picking it up. I definitely encourage you to do so.
We know that didn't used to be the case for like most speedrun games.
I think that's probably still the case, honestly. And just Chrono Trigger is just not one of them. It's got a lot on there, a lot. But yeah.
Also, in the world of Chrono Trigger, making a kind of a competent prison is not really something that you can take for granted. Since like in Guardia prison, we had the Chancellor go to the trouble of framing Chrono for kidnapping the princess, but then kind of not take away his weapons when he threw him in jail. And now here we've got a prison where the jailers run away from you instead of the other way around. And then like here we've got a cage that can be opened from the inside.
Of course.
Just like that.
With the good idea to jump in there to open it from the inside.
Yeah, instead of pressing that
the
huge
switch
button right before
there.
the torch there.
Yeah.
Once I'm done, once I rescue Kino, all of the remaining encounter triggers in the Tyranno lair are unrunnable fights, so I really don't want to get into extra encounters.
Bye.
I love those animations.
So here's a room full of teleporters.
Yeah, teleporter maze, which I just skipped all of by running diagonally.
It's hot tech, man.
How many fights did you just skip in that room?
In the outside room, like 3 or so. Oh, I didn't think I set my tech cursor. Yeah, I usually like to set Chrono's cursor onto Cyclone during one of the fights I run away from, either in the Dactyl's Nest or the basement of the Tyranno lair, just so I can mash here. Glad I remembered, though, because if I'd have just used Slash, that would have been a problem.
Keeping track of that sort of thing over the course of an entire run can be obviously very difficult. Just remembering each individual character's menu and where it was.
Yeah, so
Okay,
this
a boss.
Oh,
that's nice. So this boss in this build too, he's much tougher than the original. You use lightning to take his defense down, but each time you attack him, he raises his defense. So basically, every other turn you are having to use lightning on him. So it's a very long and just brutal fight. Or we could just
Or you just skip
You know.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, you can do that
Whatever.
too.
These are not accidents either. You actually do want these encounters for hot 36 text points.
yeah, because it is technically possible to get through that door without getting this encounter, but it's pretty inconsistent. And we need some tech points to finish learning Spin Cut on Chrono, which gives us the Ice Sword combo that we need for the Black Tyranno fight.
Just a small grind there.
One minor note regarding the memory cursor that he just learned some text, and for when characters learn new text, it actually resets their memory cursor, which can be an annoyance, but mostly it's just something that you have to keep track of and be aware of. Very nice.
All right.
Yeah, it's like a 4-pixel window or so to skip a pretty nasty set, like double set of encounters in that bridge right there. I use one of the dark colored bricks on the floor as a cue to line up with. That was a really powerful sounding roar through those headphones too. Shoutouts to Power Up Audio.
Powering up the Black
So
Tyranno.
one very important thing.
Oh, yeah. Alright, now we got Black Tyranno.
Yeah, if you thought 6,666 HP was a lot, well,
Yeah, I think Black Tyranno has
10,500.
Dang, I was gonna go with like 4 to 5, like bajillion, but I guess that's a little bit more specific.
So yeah, as you can see, you need to take out Azala first in order to actually be able to damage the Black Tyranno here. What are we gonna see in the strats here taking out Azala?
What? Are you talking to me?
Yeah, what are we gonna see?
You're
now?
seeing it right now.
What
Got some
are we
ice sword
seeing?
going on.
Yo.
Got some punches to the face. You got some,
Levitation dancing.
and Tyranno will hang out. He'll do some stuff, but he's not really active until Azala goes away.
Or you wait for a while, but for this category, it's faster to actually kill Azala.
Yeah.
Teleports.
Teleports a rock. Yeah, so when you kind of see some of that, like, I mean, I hesitate to call it grinding, but there are some battles you do want to take. You know, sometimes they work out for RNG purposes, sure, but you do want to make sure you pick up some new techs because you want some of the strongest attacks possible. Right now, that's Ice Sword. Later on, that's going to be Falcon Hit. You do want to make sure you learn those, and you'll take the opportunity to do so. So right now, Ice Sword is the moneymaker, along with Isla being Berserk, just doing whatever she wants. This is a pretty precise fight, too. Very easy to get off the RNG, especially in kind of the older days, but the strat here makes things a lot safer and faster. Kind of a happy find, both safer and faster. Rarely do you see those two things come together.
Yeah.
Usually once something's faster, then it's very risky, but not in this case.
Yeah. Actually, it happens more often than you think in Chrono Trigger.
In this game, fair enough.
Yeah, this strategy has been experimented with in the past. I think Plexel and Almagus have tried the Berserk Halo, but this particular strat was devised by Chrono Kirby. So he came up with some pretty big route changes within the last year, just recently, and really pushed the time down.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Minutes.
Shoutouts to CK.
Shoutouts to CK indeed. So kind of just check it out. You see an Ice Sword, 600 damage, takes 2 people to do. Isla or Ob, she crits, she does 400 by herself. So it's just a heck of a lot faster. Just let her do her own thing than what used to be done.
So obviously the rest of this fight is just out racing the Black Tyranno and its barbecue attack, as Flexel described it.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure everybody who plays the game knows he counts down from 5, and once he's done, he breath attacks you or whatever you want to call it for a lot of damage. And then he'll kind of start it over, pretty much. So Puexo will take that attack once, and then he should be able to kill him before it happens again.
And again, the margin here is pretty tight. It'll be, at the end, it'll be very close to getting obliterated by barbecue again.
Yeah.
That's the tightest input in the fight, too, just because I'm just trying to squeeze in this last Ice Sword before that.
Owie.
Goodbye.
Yep. Yeah. Again, fire. We do not have boosted resistance against with the de-equip glitch, so it is a big deal.
And you're able to withstand that with Ruby Vest and then Berserker in general, or does Berserker help with only physical?
Yeah, Berserker's physical only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ayla just has a lot of health, though.
Gotcha, yeah. And she is higher level.
Just going in on it.
That's what she does.
Just want to point out that Black Tyranno ate tacos.
Nice.
It's more of a nibble, really. Just a quick note that because of how fast Chrono is, he's able to get 1 extra attack in while waiting for Love's ATB to refresh fully.
Chrono's pretty quick in general, and then the Slasher does also bump up his speed.
Right down to the wire here.
Yeah.
And if I get barbecued again, what you think happened will happen, but we got him.
Got him.
Oh, goodness. I just love the way the game teases you there.
Yeah.
So you can probably see that one mistake means he's dead, which is kind of bad. So pretty tight fight, despite the fact that you're kind of just following directions, but it's more complicated than that in practice.
Yeah. I mean, it does help that, except for that last Ice Sword I did before the barbecue, everything I did was being buffered during one of Ayla's attacks. That's part of where the time savings from this over the strats that were current the last time I ran this for GDQ 2 years ago comes from, too. Just all that time adding up that I'm going into the menu to select Ice Sword and doesn't actually count against me.
We actually mentioned the extra effects of the Berserker earlier. I don't recall.
Wouldn't hurt to mention them again.
Yeah, somewhat. It actually boosts your attack power to 150%. Same with defense. So it's pretty major. I think I have those numbers right. It's not 125. I'm pretty sure it's 150. If anyone at home knows, please post in the chat. Or in a donation, even better.
It's whatever you say, man. Whatever you say is correct.
You could donate $1 for each percent of power you get from the Berserker too.
Please do.
Yeah, and then another factor too is that your whoever's Berserk is always going to attack the first frame their ATB bar fills, so you kind of gain that extra bit of speed too from
150.
Not actually having to get in their menu. Even if you're using X button attacking to Q in the first frame, it's still faster.
That does sound pretty much identical to that noise Iceplug made earlier.
Yeah.
It's uncanny.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, so as soon as I gain control, I'm going to immediately get the Berserker off of Ayla to set up the next battle I'm going to be fighting. But while we do that and listen to some very, very good sitar music in Zeal Kingdom, let's have some more donations.
Oh, yeah. We have $1,000 from Discord 166.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
With lots of facts. Here we go. Fun fact, Chrono Trigger is awesome. Fun fact 2, SGDQ is awesome. Fun fact 3, I have been told these are opinions. Anyway, keep up the great runs, Huns. Love all of ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
$250 from Sire Salty. Chrono Trigger is my favorite game of all time and first RPG as a kid. I got my red cat named Chrono sitting right next to me as I watch. Way to go to all the runners, and donation goes to Runner's Choice. Donation will be doubled by my employer, $500 total.
Nice.
That's a really good point, actually. If you you may work for a company that has like donation matching, ask, find out.
$150 from Klein, happy to support a great cause.
This is a little detour that's not in the normal route that I'm just doing for marathon safety, just to buy a couple extra full tonics. It's basically the best healing item you can buy. It's what I sold my ill-gotten jerky earlier for.
Definitely got time for a couple more.
Yeah.
$150 from Anonymous. Keep up the great work, y'all. Shout out to all the peeps behind the scenes that make it all possible. $57.30 from Kilgamayan. Tacos, 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 tacos. I do declare, he likes tacos. $150 from Dougie Style 420. Chrono Trigger, the first and best RPG I've ever played. Good luck to Poexel, and don't forget to save those animals.
So here's something slightly important.
Yeah, that's pretty much gonna spell most of the end of the content that Poexel is going to need to do to finish out this game.
Yeah, because, yeah, like we kind of mentioned like an hour or so ago, I mean, this is an any percent category, so I mean, aside from not doing the wrong warp, or also known as Lavos shell skip, I mean, we're just doing whatever we can in order to beat the game as quickly as possible. I mean, we had access to the Lavos bucket way earlier, but if we'd have gone there, we'd have just gotten destroyed before even getting anywhere close to true Lavos. So we're kind of just following the main storyline for just as long as we need to in order to be able to gain access to the resources and tools that we need in order to be able to actually put together a strategy for fighting Lavos.
As it happens, that NPC he talked to just a moment ago is a very important part of those tools that he's going to need. That starts a side quest that we'll be doing in just a bit. Unless you tell her to burn it, in which case it does nothing.
And if this was a true any % run where I was going to do the Lavos shell skip too, this is also where there'd be some divergence too, because I wouldn't actually need to get the pendant. I would just need to talk to Plant Lady, as she's 100% officially named, and then be on my way.
Right.
It's a good name.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of going into a boss fight on super low health and magic too.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah, well, it'll be all good though.
You have RNG manipulation.
Yeah.
Like, that's
It doesn't matter that this guy has like nasty AoE attacks and stuff.
It really doesn't.
We'll be good. We'll be good. Okay, Ayla's not good, but
Well, that's all right.
Chrono and Molly are-
9-3. We've seen that's plenty earlier. Oh. Well, all right.
All right.
Oh no.
But fortunately, my kind of theory on this too is that you're just kind of suddenly hurled into a boss fight basically while you're exploring this castle. So they kind of had a little sympathy. The game designers had a little bit of sympathy and made it so that even if you lose to the golem, the story will still continue. And if you win, which I probably could do if I really wanted to, but would be very slow just because the golem is 7,000 health, the outcome would be the same.
Definitely feels like casually it's a little bit harder than what you might reasonably be expected to have prepared for at this point. The Prophet, a very cool character who we will never see again.
Till the ending, at least. Oh, wait, yeah. Unfortunately, that is the last we're going to see of Alphador, though. Could have some more comments here too. We get kicked out of the Dark Ages, then have a flashback to a sealed door that we totally saw earlier in the game.
All right, I have $20 from Cyberbot X. Hey Adam, good luck with the Chrono Trigger run. I look forward to seeing all the glitches that come with the run, and since you've run Kingdom Hearts 2 in the past, put this to the level 1 Terra fight.
Oh, thanks, Naram.
$50 from R66Y. Had to donate during the run of the best RPG ever made, and to the one group of people who won't be confused by my chosen alias. Donation to go towards Runner's Choice. $50 from Vinny Vine Sauce. Donating for a good cause during my favorite game of all time. Best of luck to the runners, and kill the animals, please. $50 from Nova Odin. No. $50 from Shalloween. Chrono Trigger is the best, but you already knew that.
Hey, at least it's not Bersentia level.
Yeah. There is only one Bersentia, and that is a good thing.
Agreed.
$150 from Anonymous Game Dev. Gotta love Chrono Trigger. Frog is the only cool animal, so $100 to kill the animals and $50 to Diablo 2 cow level, because I guess they're okay too.
So, go ahead.
$150 from Scout in the Night. I'm experiencing an enormous amount of nostalgia while listening to the music during the Chrono Trigger run. Thanks for playing one of my absolute favorite games of all time.
So talking to that plant lady sets up the side quests where you have to set up the help Fiona set up the forest Fiona. And that's exactly what we want. The happy consequence of doing that side quest is getting an item called the Green Dream, which is going to be super important later, so we definitely want to do that. And thankfully, with its presence in the Middle Ages, you have access to it easily without needing the time machine. So don't need to worry about that. We can definitely do that. We will make one pit stop, obviously, to grab the Swallow and Endgame sword for Chrono.
Yeah,
or for
it's
Tacos.
like the 4th or 5th strongest sword in the game for Chrono, along with giving him even more of a speed boost than the Slasher.
Yeah, it's got everything we want. At least one more point in speed, and then almost double the attack power of the Slasher, so it's super important.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, at this point, if I was continuing to follow the main story, which I would be doing, like if this was a 100% run, we'd be going to get the time machine. But now we're just kind of, now that we have the powered up pendant, which lets us open the sealed chests in that pyramid, we can start getting some really powerful gear. And we've also opened up, like Bick just mentioned, the Fiona's Forest side quest.
And hey, 4 for 4 on bird skip.
4 for 4.
Nice.
Also taking the time to power up this chest. For those you might not remember, if you interact with one of these special sealed chests earlier in the timeline, and then you come back to them in a future timeline, you get the powered up version.
Yeah, so I'm doing that to set up getting a blue mail later on.
Exactly.
And if you want, you can also create a paradox by going back and getting the thing in the older timeline.
You can definitely do that. So we're coming up on the dungeon here for the side quest, which has the Ret Knight boss. Definitely another special boss that can be hard to deal with, even casually as well. And we have to find a way to get through here at lower levels, which is definitely doable. You do want a very specific load here to handle some of the encounters as well as the boss. Main reason why you want a lot of these encounters, because most of them are avoidable, is that we're going to also get a gajillion tech points.
Yeah, 'cause this is an end game side quest area that we're coming to way, way earlier than we're meant to.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you learn a tech in Chrono Trigger, the character who learns a tech gets double the tech points from the battle. And this is a 60 tech point battle. So both Morrow and Ayla, who will be learning techs here, will actually be gaining 120 tech points right here.
Killing that guy before he attacks is pretty tight, too. And the Mohovores have really high evasion, too. Like, I knew that first spin cut was going to hit the top one, but for the other two, I'm using Drill Kick because it can't miss.
And there's our second Lapis as well. I need both of those for
Yeah,
the
this game is
lava
actually
shell.
very stingy with party healing. Like, the only two items you can use to heal your whole party are Lapises, which heal 200 HP, and then Mega Elixirs, which heal full HP and MP. Neither of which you get access to until pretty late in the game.
We're gonna Zerk up for this fight. This is a new Autovina strat. This whole desert, essentially.
It's important, too, that I actually target the left Mohovore instead of just holding X, because like we mentioned I don't know, like an hour or more ago, if I queue an attack on something that then dies before my attack goes off, that causes the RNG to advance in a different way. Sometimes I do want that to happen, sometimes I don't.
All right.
I'm going to do a quick cutscene skip here, and then we're going to see where Ret Knight spawns so that Puexel can start the boss fight. All right. It's not the worst.
Yeah, lower left is what we generally consider the worst spawn location.
So this is a fairly well thought out fight as well. All the while you do damage to the top and bottom, they're going to slowly drain away HP from the core, and you're definitely keeping track of that. Otherwise, at that point in time, a lot of the fight revolves around using some of your higher attack power abilities to slowly but surely whittle them down. Before you can do full damage to them, you got to use ice, but from there you're going to see a lot of spin cuts and cat attacks. First on the legs and before Puexel moves up to the body. And if he stays on manipulation, then it's real simple. He kills the legs, and then he's going to slowly whittle down the top, and then kill the core and the top basically back to back. It's a bit of a slow crawl to get there because, again, you know, he leveled up some, but it's not like he's super endgame powerful. So it will take a little bit of time, but it should be, for the most part, fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I believe we're level 18 right now, Chrono at least. Yeah, that's
Yeah, you're probably meant to be like 30 or higher by this point. Yeah, the head has 5,000 HP and the legs have 4,800, I believe, so this will take a while, but not like ridiculously
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you're doing just under about a grand damage, so.
How much HP does the core have, for that matter?
1,000.
yeah. So, which is, let's see.
I'm counting my hits here just to make sure I follow the plan right.
Yep. So just before starting this fight, Morrow was 98 tech points away from learning haste, which we absolutely need for the shell. And here we'll get
Good job.
100 tech points.
100 tech
Yeah.
points. Nice job.
Yep.
So now we are outside of finishing out the quest and getting the Green Dream totally ready for the confrontation with Lavos. Having haste is really important, as well as learning Falcon Hit, super important as well. And then the final kind of factor there is getting the Green Dream, as well as making sure Puexel has 2 elixirs for whatever reason.
No, it's just a quick double check to make sure he got all those chests in there.
Yeah, because this part's just a little kind of inconsistent between runs, depending on where exactly in the room you fight Ret Knight, because he's got 4 different spawn locations.
Yeah, so it's hard to build up like a muscle memory for that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that she's like, man, it'll take centuries to do this, and Robo just immediately, the first line is like, you can come for me when I'm done.
So let's go do that.
We probably have time for a handful of comments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have $1,000 from Fast B.
Oh, yo.
Nice.
Chrono Trigger. Happy to see one of my favorite games run on this stage, and I'm glad to give to such a great cause. These runners are a great example for us all.
Oh, wow. I might have to disown my own brother.
$500 from Pin T. Cut off the last name. No comment. $100 from Joseph G. Kim. Greetings from Zeal. First-time Magic user, long-time time traveler. Love supporting such a great cause. Kill the Lavos and save the news. $150 from John Ness. My first introduction to speedrunning was watching a video of Puexel destroying Final Fantasy. I had to donate during his run. A big thanks to him and all the other runners and staff making this event happen. $100 from Andy233. I loved Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross as a kid. Thanks, Puexel, for showing this game off. Also, did anyone else notice that the origin of Lavos as an alien monster falling from the sky in ancient times is very similar to that of Pennywise in Stephen King's It?
Thought he was going to say Genova. I guess that works too.
Like that.
I saw the first 20 minutes of that movie.
I've definitely thought of that parallel before. That's cool.
$50 from the Jerry Peace. Never taco give you up. Never gonna let you Arby's.
Just real quick, we're getting an elixir here. We really want that.
Definitely want the elixir.
A lot.
You want 2 of them, for sure. And we got it. You're also seeing some of the background being set up for one of the Rainbow Shell side quests, but we will not be bothering with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, the sole reason to come in here is just this is the fastest place to get a second elixir.
Yeah.
I'm just popping up here to get a mega elixir too, is just a safety for the final battle. But that's not part of the normal route.
Time for more donations.
Yep, yeah, we're just going to go get, well, I'm going to go get Roboback and then also do a little bit of shopping. I'm basically going to sell off most of the stuff that I got from the Sunken Desert that I don't actually need in order to finish the run, and then buy 2 sight caps, which it's a very useful helmet because it gives chaos protection, which is the confusion status in this game. That's essential for the final battle.
I'd say you're good up until Luca does some time traveling.
All right. $150. Heyo, GDQ. Eugene and Maya Lisa here. It's our 15th wedding anniversary. But rather than buy each other gifts or go to a fancy dinner, we'd rather give the money to those who need it more. MSF is an outstanding organization bringing aid and comfort to many all over the world. It's up to all of us to help them continue. Donation goes to Puexel's Choice. His RPG runs are always entertaining, and Chrono Trigger is one of the favorite RPGs.
Yeah, thanks, and happy anniversary.
$100 from GetCooped244. Had to donate to one of my favorite games of all time with my favorite speedrunner. Thanks for such a great time, guys. Puexel's Choice for the donation. $50 from Machine Citizen. Had to donate during my favorite run of the event. Thanks for all the hard work that goes into making every GDQ happen. $150 from Zach61 with no comment. $50 from Anonymous. Love watching some of my favorite old games get destroyed, especially Chrono Trigger. I remember spending hours with this game to get every single ending, and it's awesome to see someone speedrun it.
All right, so we're just wrapping up the Fiona's Forest quest here, both to get, well, I guess we don't really need Robo back because we're not going to use him actually for combat in the rest of the run, but we do need to do that in order to get the Green Dream, which is kind of the final reward for the quest. And the Green Dream's an accessory that gives you the re-raise status once per battle, which means that if you die, you automatically get revived once. And we're going to be using that for both its intended purpose and some other magic too.
Nice. You did it.
Totally free.
So you like read some notes and hopefully clue in that the password is Lara, and you would input those one at a time, probably. But as it turns out, you can just hold all the buttons at the same time, and it inputs the password for you. It's pretty great.
And then I saved Luca's mom, both because it's the right thing to do, but it also saves time too, because the cutscene ends immediately after you enter the password, and then also there's less dialogue here with Robo if you get the good outcome.
All right.
All right.
We are good to go. So you may remember the category as it's most commonly known as any percent no LSS or no Lavos shell skip, which is exactly where we're headed right now to go ahead and confront Lavos and fight the shell, which is kind of like our Chrono Trigger's Mega Man refights, if you will, where you fight most of the bosses you've fought before.
And
Back to back to back to back, and some you haven't. And then you also fight Lavos shell proper. And this is all, no single one for the most part. It's all that hard, except for maybe the last one. But combined time to fight all of those bosses does take quite a while, especially like a refight with Black Tyranno, let's say. It's just a long fight. And so there is a trick that exists out there called Lavos shell skip, which does exactly what it sounds like. You don't actually have to fight any of those boss battles at all, and it saves a lot of time. In this category, just opts to not do it.
This is also kind of, I think, also referred to as any percent classic, just because this was the any percent category before LSS was doable outside of a tool-assisted speedrun setting.
LSS is both a it's a very difficult trick to do, as well as having a little bit of randomness to it. On top of the fact that some people are just not kind of into what it does to the route, so that's why they're separated. And then because you would be skipping all these fights that Puexl is doing, there's certain routing changes as well, because there's certain things you just don't have to worry about. But we will be doing this epic 10-minute battle, or however long, 15-minute battle.
Yeah, this is a pretty challenging gauntlet in this category since you're so low level. Of course, the first couple fights here are against stuff like the Dragon Tank and Guardian, and those are pretty straightforward. Falcon Hit will be used a lot in this entire series of battles, but yeah, as mentioned, some of the later ones are going to be a little more actually intense. And then the actual Lava Shell will be very intense.
And Falcon Hit's cool. It's a high-level tech, but for whatever reason, it's only based on Chrono's physical attack. So he's the one with the super awesome weapon right now, so it should be doing a bajillion damage, at least compared to everything else Puexl can do. And it's going to be his main form of attack for practically every boss that he's going to fight here. And it also hits everybody in the line. That's very helpful also.
Turns out to be very useful on, I think, almost all of these forms here.
Yeah. The first handful of bosses are really, really easy because there's they power up from the original boss, but at the end of the day, they're still like super low tier bosses. So like one Falcon hit and one attack will kill them, or maybe 2 Falcon hits or something like that, and then it's over.
Yeah, it gets more interesting when we get to the Magus phase.
The Hecarim version is going to look a little different just because you can't really damage him with physical attacks, so we'll have to take a little bit of extra time using magic, but again, overpowered as far as Hecarim is concerned, so it's not really a big deal. See some classic strats. Antipode.
And keep in mind that there is still RNG manipulation going on, and he still needs to input the right commands at the right times and not take turns out of order or miss a turn or anything like that, because while most of these fights at the beginning of this gauntlet are going to be really straightforward, regardless of that, even like Tyranno, he would be able to get through. The actual lava shell would be a real bad time if he had to do it on pure backup strats.
Yeah, I did pick up like both a stack of full tonics and a mega elixir, so that if something does go wrong there, I do have a non-zero chance of being able to salvage it, but it's still not going to be pretty.
Yeah, so it's a long gauntlet to make sure that you're on the right track the entire time. Not to mention, you know, should the worst come to happen, that's not like I just lost 2 minutes. Like, no, you just lost double digit, right? So it's really important that for in any setting, marathon or even your own PB attempts, that you really have this portion just down, because you don't ever want to lose it here.
Yeah, but it's kind of worth noting too that we are fighting several bosses that I actually skipped in the main run too.
Yeah, so you saw Hecarim, you saw Zombor,
Guardian.
Didn't fight any of those. We're supposed to, but didn't.
You will be seeing Giga Guy at the end of this too, who we didn't even go to the place where you'd fight him.
Yeah,
and,
it's kind of messed up.
He's also significantly higher level than we currently are, so that'll be a pretty challenging fight as well. But Falcon Head helps a lot.
Yeah, Falcon hits. It's silly. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean the in-game description tells you everything you need to know, right? Taco's Falcon Hit. So Nizbel's kind of the last really kind of gimme phase before it really starts to get a lot more complex.
Yeah, you can kind of see he doesn't even need, he hasn't healed, hasn't even gotten in the menu really, and just kind of going back to back to back, because it's not a problem.
Incidentally, when Lavos opens his eye, you might see a butterfly there. That's normal. Yeah, you can't unsee it now.
Can blame my good friend Essentia's daughter for that one. Oh, not blame, thank.
Alright, so Magus form, it picks up a little bit, but, just because of the same gimmick exists. But it will look a little different. I'm sure you could probably tell since he's not rocking Robo.
I love that the eye just jumps out.
So just because of the way the manipulation lines up here, he gives me Shadow, which I can't actually exploit with these characters, so I'm just having Luca shoot him for 5 damage here in order to just trigger him to change again to fire, which I do have in a very big way. reason for that little hesitation before I queued Frog's attack is that right there, because that actually kind of manipulates the damage from that fire sword to be kind of the highest end of the range.
And same as last fight with Magus, he was able to do another fire sword even after moving into the second phase before the spellcasting started.
You saw at the end he had Frog use an item on himself. It didn't go through, but what it did was it set Frog's battle cursor to item in preparation for something you'll see at the end.
So there's a lot of slashes and falcon heads now, right?
Yep.
So donations for the last time during this run?
All right. Just as a quick reminder, again, if you donate $150 during this marathon, you'll be put in the drawing to win the GDQ Custom Corsair PC. $150. You know you want it. Go ahead and put in that $150 donation. Get yourself in that lottery. Speaking of $150, I have $150 from Abyss Mage. Nice to see the greatest game of all time being run. Keep up the good work. $100 from Dan Beef. Ah, Chrono Trigger. So many days spent after school grinding to finally beat Lavos. And now to see it beaten in 1/1634th of that time. I say good show. $15 from ProtoKitty. $1 for every taco I've consumed during this run.
Wow.
Wow.
$15 from Anonymous. Shout out to tacos, shout out to Arby's, shout out to the couch, and shout out to the audience. Chrono Hype.
Hype?
$50 from Howard and Nestor. I'm loving the Chrono Trigger run after a hard day at work. Thanks for taking part in this event for a great cause. Donation incentive goes to Poexel's Choice.
So here's just kind of waiting for the defense removal before he starts Falcon hitting him into oblivion.
Yeah, this is the first time we see haste status too, because like in basically all Squaresoft RPGs, haste just increases the speed that your ATB bar fills, but in Chrono Trigger it's actually really, really significant. So as far as just how much faster it makes you, so that's the key to actually getting a one-cycle Tyranno in the refight, whereas Rubich just barely got a 2 in the original fight.
I think you may have time for like one more.
Awesome. Those donations are coming in for those PCs. I've got $500 from Anonymous with no comment. I like this one. $200 from Matthias. All speedruns begin with frames and end with frames. This is the truth. This is my belief, at least for now. The Magnificence of Games Done Quick, Volume 2017, Chapter 7-6.
All right, just about wrapped up with
2 more Falcon
Tyranno.
hits and then 2 regular attacks, and we're done with Tyranno.
So we've got Giga Gaia coming up now. So we've just wrapped up Black Tyranno, and Giga Gaia has one nice, super convenient difference from his actual battle. in the Lavos form, and that is that all 3 targets are in a line for Falcon hit instead of only the hands. So that is really convenient.
Yeah, so you're going to see more of the same.
Oh, yeah.
This one's a little bit more scary, though, because Pair Blaster is fire damage.
Yep. I'm not going to bother with haste here just because trying to keep Marley alive to actually use it would be more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah. Marl gets to take a nap again for this fight.
She'll need the rest.
But yeah, the bits representing Giga Guy's hands start with 2,000 HP, and then whenever they get revived, they only have 1,000. So those 2 super attacks that it did right at the start are all we're going to see, fortunately.
That is a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just raised $700,000.
That is a lot of money raised during this one run. Alright.
Alright, Lavos is now mad.
So now things get real.
It's not refight time anymore, it's Wily time. So Lavos shell proper here is nothing to mess with. It's pretty dang serious. And can't really make any mistakes here or else probably gonna die. Maybe not though. We won't really think about it though. It's not gonna go down like that. Slow things down a little bit. So the first setup here we want is Lavos shell is always gonna open up here with the Destructo Rain or Destruction Rain or whatever. Which is typically pretty powerful, but we got the gear and the full HP here to withstand, except for Love, who's going to die again. But she does have the Green Dream on this time, so first time you'll be seeing it out of a grand total of 3 times. And you definitely want haste. That's pretty much the only reason why she has that on, I would guess, just because she can come back in and get that haste going on. And we're going to be following like a very, very strict string of RNG here to make sure we get through this fight that we're so underleveled for. It's not even funny. One of the other nasty attacks that Lavos has are the spines, which are pretty much going to kill any one of them. But thankfully, our good friend here, Love, is going to be the target of them every time, so it's not a big deal. And the other 2 are just going to Falcon hit him to death. So kind of just thinking about like gear that's available and some really smart RNG manipulations lets you get through a fight that you probably shouldn't be able to get through. And so just kind of another example of knowing what's coming up, getting the heals in right before the next rain comes down to make sure they survive.
You might have noticed Puexel looking down at his leg where he's got his notes on his phone to be 100% sure that he gets the right attacks at the right time.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a mistake here because that would be very costly.
The difficulty of this might be subjective, but if you've been paying attention to the timer, I mean, we've been in this fight 13 minutes, so it's not something you're going to get wrong, like, 'cause that's just too much time.
There you go.
All right, well done.
Great fight, great fight.
Very good fight. So now the question becomes, you got through Lavo's shell, way underpowered. That was pretty rough. Then you're going to fight, Lavo's core and whatnot, and perfect cell Lavos and blah, blah, blah. And those are even more powerful. So the real question here becomes, what the heck do we possibly do to even remotely have a chance to stand up to that kind of stuff? And I want to tell you we have an answer for it, but we'll go ahead and let you enjoy it before we talk about it. So coming up here is Perfect Cell.
Yeah, shoutouts to Akira Toriyama, who did all the character artwork for this game many years ago. It's part of what gives it its very kind of unique and distinctive charm among 90s RPGs.
There we go.
Boom.
Keep in mind the HP max in this game for you was 999.
Yeah, we just took 2,000. We did it.
Yep.
All right. See you, Lavos.
All right.
That's part one. And don't worry, there will be an explanation forthcoming, but we might have to get through another boss first, so, you know.
All right, so now we have Lavos core. You have the kind of human-looking center with the left bit and the right bit. Those of you who played casually know which one of those is kind of like your main target, and that's kind of what we'll be focusing on here. You just got to get through the first round of turns and see what happens.
So you just healed that last boss to death?
Possibly.
This game is literally Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
The true greatest game of all time.
Nice menu glitch there. Saved a second.
All right, healing the boss. That's totally cool.
Get ready on time, by the way.
Goodbye, love. 300 damage. Oh no.
Rip. You might have seen this
Yeah,
before.
time's about to come up.
Time.
Boom.
See ya.
Uh, 3:03. That's 2 minutes faster than any of my practice runs with this route too for the marathon.
Nice run, buddy.
Yeah.
Nice.
We should probably kind of explain what just happened, by the way, too.
Yeah, maybe.
Nah, I think the run's over. We got to move on the schedule. We'll probably be all right. So let's pack it up.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
So Actually, do you want to take it, Redslash?
Oh, sure. That was the elixir HP underflow glitch. Basically, with the effect of the green dream, we've one of our party members gets revived, but the game thinks that there aren't any characters alive, so it can't. The game cannot find a target for the item that we attempt to use. So it kicks us back out to the menu, whereupon we go ahead and attack the boss, but the effect of the item that was queued up comes out instead of the attack. And that item was the elixir, which normally heals the target to max, but for enemies with over a certain amount of HP, that causes the HP to kind of wrap around to negative, and the game just calls that 0. And
yeah, it's a really high number too. There's only, I think, 6 total bosses in the whole game that have it's basically about 16,000 and some change. Final Lavos Shell only has 10,000, which is why I fought it using Falcon Hit and other tricks instead of using the glitch, just because its HP isn't high enough for it to be possible.
And the setup for that is actually really specific and requires a lot of little things. So, like, there's a lot that went into that is just not super obvious. As an example, just one of the things, Frog has exactly 11 speed, and that is important. So there you go.
Yeah, back when we used to do the elixir glitch with Marl, and she has 12 speed, I believe, and the elixir glitch at that time was a 12-frame trick to pull off. It's been improved a bit since then.
Yeah.
So, shoutouts?
Yeah. Yeah, big shoutouts to all 4 gentlemen on the couch behind me for helping with the commentary and support. Shoutouts to everyone else that's run Chrono Trigger over the years too, just because this route is kind of a product of many people putting in a lot of hours of work, both the minority of which is actually doing speedruns of the game. Like, there's a lot of just number crunching and research that went into like cracking how to route the RNG manipulation, especially. Like, I do want to give particular shout outs to Adovino too, who's a French speedrunner that at least kind of when I first picked up this category was kind of the main resource as far as kind of improving the route to kind of drop the record by like tens of minutes, basically. You guys want to shout out anybody else?
Oh, sure. Just, yeah, the entire Chrono community, in particular El Gran Jerry, who originally kind of organized the community into kind of what it became today. And I don't know, should I just list a bunch of people? Or
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, so they're all
of
which are cool.
Kilai was mentioned earlier. I know he was the first person to route the double elixir glitch. Abda Jr. was kind of one of the pioneers for doing RTAs, single segment runs of this, using all of the known glitches.
I think we're good.
Yeah, and I guess we're pretty much done too, so as soon as it says the end, we'll be out of here.
All right. Thanks for watching.
All right, thanks for watching. Thanks, thanks GDQ for the opportunity, and enjoy the rest of the marathon.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, make some